Hello and welcome back to the VCS 2022 Summer Playoffs. After Saigon Buffalo made short work of Team Secret on Wednesday, today we have two of the most well-known and well-liked organizations in Vietnam, and definitely the most well-known VCS organization outside of it. It's, of course, GAM Esports against SBTC Esports. And with me today is, of course, a wonderful analyst desk. And did you know that more people return to Germany after immigrating to Vietnam than are actually immigrating to Vietnam from Germany? Well, we're sure leaving our country in spirit because our analyst desk today is entirely German. With me are Tim. And
yeah, great to be back.
Yulwei.
Hey, I'm finally here for playoffs. Let's go.
And before we delve into our matchup, let's first check up on our playoffs bracket, because a loss in today's game does not mean SBTC has to go home already, Tim.
No, absolutely not. I think you took it away a bit. I think we all favor GAM here, but still, I think the team that is losing today has to face Team Secret, who really did not look good against Saigon Buffalo, so they have another shot. And then, of course, the loser of Saigon Buffalo and probably GAM is going to face them again. And whoever wins that second lower bracket game is also at Worlds. And then the finals decides who goes to group stage immediately and who goes to the play-ins.
Yeah, so there's still a lot to play for, but still, this is not the highest stakes matchup. But I mean, it's the quarterfinals, right? Don't want to take anything away from that. And it is also GAM Esports against SBTC. Two of, as I said, the most well-liked organizations in Vietnam. And GAM Esports, of course, also worldwide liked, known, and of course, just a very interesting team with a big legacy behind it. I want to throw it over to you, Yulwei. Can you talk a bit about what GAM Esports even is and what they have done so far?
Oh wow! Well, that's a long story if we want to go through the whole history of GAM. Well, they are the team with the most titles in history of the league. I don't want to go through all of them, but of course, the start of this modern GAM formation and the start of their legacy, I think, is to be found in 2017 when they first burst onto the scene internationally as well. A lot of people have fond memories of seeing them. Unfortunately, there are also a lot of people who always associate GAM just with that one tournament and don't understand that they have grown past this crazy playstyle. They're actually a very, if we focus on the GAM of 2022, they've actually changed their identity quite a lot. So they always used to be the most scrappy team. If you look back at 2020, GAM played against Flash in both of the finals. They were actually favored in spring and underdogs in summer. They lost both of the finals, though. And they've always struggled against the really good team fighting, full front-to-back team fighting team. They also lost the final against Cerberus in winter, of course. So those are the three finals in recent memory, 2020, both splits, and 2021 winter, where they lost the final, but they've always been to the final, so they've consistently been either the winners or the finalists here, the runner-ups, just always in the final, kind of like TSM at the start of LCS. They are really the protagonist org. And if I want to talk a little bit more about playstyle, as I said, they used to be this early game stomp everything team. Pick dominant champions, something like AP Shyvana was super famous for Levi. And just they used to just be up 3.5k gold at 50 minutes every single game, like consistently stomping everyone into the ground. They're very different now. They're only up 300 gold on average, even though they are by far the team with the best win record at 24-10 in the regular season. And they have shifted their priority towards being a late game team fighting team. So they kind of looked at all of their defeats and said, well, what if we just became the best late game team fighting team? That would kind of solve all our troubles. And that's what we're looking at right now. They're not only a late game focused team, they also have amazing early roams and objective priorities. They're very focused on dragons, much more than any other team. They kind of ignore the Herald and always go for dragons. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But in essence, this team has very good players and they play together for mid and late game team fights around objectives right now.
And when talking about GAM, it's, of course, at least in my mind, it's always Levi, right? It's always Levi. But this split, it looked like I mean, GAM as a whole, they have of course developed, and it might not even be the person to talk about today. Levi, of course, still a very important part of the team, but who do you think is kind of their most important gear in the whole structure that is GAM Esports?
That's actually very hard to say for me to identify one player. I would say it's definitely B if you think about his impact, and we saw the team without B and with B. To be fair, the solo laners also kind of lost their motivation, or it looked like they lost motivation at the start of the split. So they also improved alongside B coming back in. But if you wanted to single out one MVP, it's definitely B. But in terms of in-game play, Kati, of course, is the carry of the team right now. The most important carry for the team fights. B might be the one setting up all the ganks, but Kati is the one bringing home those ganks and those team fights with an insane amount of champions played. It's just if you look at his champions played, it's just basically the whole roster. He can play everything, and he improved massively. He actually sneakily got back to number 1 on GAM's MVP list for us after we criticized him. And yeah, this player, it's one of the most enigmatic players in the world because he has won 4 VCS titles. He has won a SEA Games, but he has never been to any international tournaments, and he is on the quest to finally change that. He wants to go to Worlds, and he deserves it so much. Whether it be on his 5th title or even just at the 2nd seed, the world needs to know about Kati, one of the most successful players ever in this league.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about Kati a little bit more once we head into the games, and I'm sure he's going to be an important part, of course, of GAM Esport. But on the other side of the rift, actually, also in the mid lane, there's a player that has been talked about quite a lot, especially in the Vietnamese region, Dia1, as a very strong mid laner as well, and SPTC, of course, as a very big organization with a lot of fans. Now, this split, it started off great, and then it kind of fizzled out. I've heard that this is the case for a lot of their splits. Tim, maybe you can tell us a bit more about SPTC this split.
Yeah, I mean, SPTC, I think, started even better than the past splits. Especially in spring, they were pretty close to making playoffs, but it's actually the first time in the organization's history to make a playoffs for them. So they at least made one step up already this split. And you talked about Dia1 in the mid lane. I think Dia1 really resembles what we think about this team, because he started off and he probably was the best mid laner. He was roaming around the map. It seemed like he was he could carry like Artifact. He could roam like Froggy, and he was just running around the map, killing everybody, being an absolute monster once again. He is, and now I'm looking at him, and he's not really that anymore. I mean, Jungle Duo, I think, is the biggest weakness they have shown. And on the other side, I think the players I want to highlight is probably Emperor in top lane, who has really developed well from his time last year in the winter split still, where he couldn't even have a full starting spot. He was splitting that with Team Secret's hero, and now he came in, and this split he really became a monster. But also he kind of fizzled out to the second half of the split. He had massive amounts of solo kills in the first half. In the second half, he didn't play bad, but he wasn't a great player anymore. And I think if you want to really have this team be carried, I think it has to be Celebrity and Paladin bot lane who have to stand up to GAM, and I think who can stand up to GAM.
Yeah, you talked about the solo laners as being quite strong and high expectations, of course, for the bot lane. The last time these two teams met, it was Dia1 who had a very good performance in the first game, and yeah, then afterwards, GAM kind of took over, and especially B. Now, you already talked about it, B being a very strong part of GAM as a whole, but looking at maybe those last 2 times they've met, can we expect a similar outcome with it being a close match, or do you think it's going to be a bit more one-sided your way?
That's actually an interesting question because both of the series were very close and both under very different pretenses. Where in round 1 we would have expected SPTC to dominate them because GAM was looking quite bad. In round 2, GAM was looking much better and SPTC actually on a downturn. So it seems like both of these teams always meet at the same level when they play against each other, which would be great to see today again. I'm not so sure that we're actually going to have more than 3 games today, unfortunately. GAM, for me, is the heavy favorite. I can't really construct a win condition for SPTC right now. They basically have to rely on Enper completely stomping Kiaya into the ground and Dia1 holding up in the mid lane for them to have a chance. Because GAM's bot lane is too stable, their objective play is too good in the late game. SPDC has never been that great in teamfights anyway, so I fear for their chances, unfortunately.
And well, we head into the draft. Just a quick answer. Tim, do you agree 3-0 for GAM, or what is your expectation?
I'm predicting a 3-0 for GAM. I think SE they're not strong enough to face this level of GAM.
And with that, of course, the draft's already on its way. We've seen all the bans coming out. Kalista, Draven, very strong bot lane is now Sivir locked in for SE early on. And we'll see the answer from GAM in just a short moment.
Yeah, the Yumi's open, so Zeri Yumi seems to be an easy choice. I'm not sure if GAM really wants to go Yumi for B on the first game. Maybe they want to give him a little bit more playmaking. We have seen him roam on B because on Yumi because it's B. He can roam on Yumi and make it work. He appeared over in the top lane, but this is another interesting one. Nocturne is these two teams are very Nocturne focused, and the last time they played each other, they actually played some Nocturne as well. And both of these junglers have played some of that champion before. I would say SPTC is actually kind of happy with this development. This is Yumi, Zeri, and Vi draft, three very high priority champions. So SPTC coming away with a decent first open.
Yeah, I would say, like, considering the meta, that's probably an S+ tier draft. I mean, it's not going to get better for you. You're not going to get more powerful picks. Now, on the other hand, B is going for the VCS Alistair. It is the eternal VCS pick. I came in here and everybody was like, yeah, we're playing Alistair. It's not good, but it works. And I think we're back to that. It is a good champion, of course, to engage Sivir, because Sivir can't actually spell shield the engage, which is the case with Leona, which is the case with Nautilus.
Honestly, I wasn't expecting to see such a typical VCS style coming into this game. I mean, GAM, of course, the team, and now they have the Nocturne, they have the Alistair, kind of the picks that I've known the VCS for. But of course, with us into the second ban rotation, it already looks like SGBC has a very, very strong foundation. And the answers look a little bit more versatile, is maybe a good thing to say. The Nocturne as well, I don't feel like it has worked out as well as maybe was expected, Tim.
Yeah, I'm interested in the mid lane bans because a lot of mid laners are now being taken out, Talia, Azir, and the Sylas. That leaves up, for example, the Ahri or Lissandra, which would be an expected matchup, but I also know that some of the VCS teams have more crazy mid laners in their back pocket, so I'm interested to see what especially is being blind picked. And now with the Lissandra ban, I feel like just give Kati the Ahri. There's not really something to answer with, I feel like, in the meta currently, because usually you answer with Azir or you answer with the Lissandra, but it ends up actually being the Aatrox blind pick, something we have seen come into the meta, where if you have to blind pick a top laner, but very often it's just the Aatrox.
Yeah, and it's one of Kiaya's all-time favorites, of course. Now, this gives Enper the chance to once again try on, and this composition on Zeri Yumi, no, not Zeri, on Sivir Yumi plus Vi, that's some late-game hyper-carry potential over there. Dia1, also a big proponent of Swain. He actually had this carry performance on Swain, as you alluded to earlier. In the first game they played against GAM earlier, in the last time they met. So this is a decent setup. I'm actually really liking SPTC's comp so far. The On comes to mind. Maybe Renekton if you want a stronger lane. You could also go... I mean, Renekton...
Sadly.
Yeah.
You can't see the croc.
I mean, this is an Emperor special. He played this a lot. Okay.
We go absolutely crazy over here. Now we see the mid lane Morgana. It's not the first time I've seen this. I'm not sure who played it. Somebody played it in mid lane. Kati played it in mid lane. I've also seen. I think seen it also in different regions. So it is something that multiple players have actually started to pick up, especially also into this Swain. And I'm just interested because the Morgana, of course, also works really well into the Vi.
I'm just surprised by all the picks we see, but of course Morgana mid lane coming in, of course the Swain now for Dia1. As you said, we've seen him perform on that one. Nocturne, I'm surprised to see how Levy will perform on this, seeing as the recent records didn't really show that much of a... I mean, they don't show Nocturne in the best light, but I mean, top lane, of course, the matchup maybe to look at Riven against Aatrox. A lot of interesting things. We will, of course, see a lot of interesting picks that will be shown throughout the game, but I'll have to ask you, before we see those picks in action, who do you think will actually win it?
If SPTC wins a game today, it's this one. I think their draft is actually pretty good. If Enper comes into players on good form and has a decent or better than decent Riven game, I think this is the game they can shock GAM. I think GAM's composition is picked with a lot of hubris. I don't like it. It's not very meta. It's trying to show everyone that we are GAM, we can kill everyone with our draft. I don't like that. Please teach them a lesson, SPTC. I'm saying SPTC takes it.
I think I agree with you, Away. I think the draft from GAM is not great. I think SPTC's draft is much better, but we're in the VCS, we're seeing GAM, so I'm saying yes, the draft is better, but I'm also saying it doesn't matter. I still give it to GAM.
So it's both predictions for GAM. Little surprises, seeing as almost everybody has predicted them to be the dominant force. But how it all plays out, of course, only seen once we head into the Rift. And for that, I will throw it over to our wonderful casters. So please take it away and have fun in game number 1 between GAM Esports and SPTC Esports.
Well, Marby, it seems to me, as I can hear myself, sorry about that, the little bit of a tech issue, but as we go forward, SPTC just got every S-tier draft, every S-tier pick they could imagine. I don't know why. Why am I echoing, Spoods?
That's a good question. Yeah, if GAM do win this game, I'm going to be just kind of mad. They shouldn't with that draft. It's purely just, I'm good at this champion, I'm going to pick this. The only champ that's, other than Zeri and maybe the Morgana, which is a direct Vi counter, yeah, they're just kind of, I like this champion. There's not a lot of cohesion, there's not like
Enpa.
But Enpa may have done a whoopsie.
Yeah, he's gone for a really aggressive play, but they were ready for it. The broken wings do get him back out, though.
Well, able to hop over the wall, very nice. Of course, Enpa is the resident Riven. Played it a little bit on his debut split. Made us all get very excited for him. Has been a hot minute since he pulled it out, but this time into Kiaya wants to try and bring it down again, and it was sort of touched on desk. I'm just going to bring it up now. Lane belongs to the Emperor. If we can bring up the graphic, 44 solo kills in the regular season. Absolute menace. I didn't get the exact stats, but I was able to work out that he's got about 12 in the matchups against GAM, which is actually 12. It was about 10 in the first series against GAM. Then he picked up 3 more in series in the second matchup. So he's a bit of a monster. Kind of good.
Celebrity moving forward onto Style, wants to chase him down, flashing forward, but he stops his movement, but it doesn't matter, gets the kill anyway, gets on out as well.
Passing that auto attack made it close, but Celebrity stepping up big alongside Paulette in this bot lane for SPTC has been actually a huge part of their success, especially towards the start of the split.
Level 2, and it's a Yuumi.
Yeah, going straight onto trying to keep the Yuumi away felt a little bit weird, because when she's disconnected, she doesn't do a lot. She's not, and you have the Sivir just raining on hell down onto the Zeri, and this absolutely justifies that this was kind of the plan from level 1 from the side of SPTC. They started Longsword instead of Cull, so we're not looking to just run this one out.
And I mean, the thing here is, looking at this draft, I think GAM is making a bit of a mental gamble here, because if they can beat SPTC with this draft, SPTC knows they can't win. If you get this draft, you get Vi, Sivir, Yuumi, and then a comfort pick top, you can't do anything. And speaking of top, in comes DNK. Kiaya's in trouble, gets to his tower, doing his absolute best with the Qs, actually burns the flash from Enpa, so doing well there on the Aatrox.
Yeah, they definitely screw up that tower dive right at the end there. I think Enpa's sort of missing his Qs, but Levi's on the wraparound, so is B. This should be easy, mate.
Yeah, they're coming in. They want to get onto Celebrity. There's not much he can do up against that Nocturne and Alistair combo, and that'll be a kill back in Styles' pockets.
Yeah, all the summoners had been used previously, still level 2, no spell shield. Just really nice, really easy, and able to capitalize a little bit better due to the position of the waves. So GAM are clapping back a little bit better right now, but I still feel pretty good if I'm a fan of SBTC, because yeah, you lost a lot of this bot lane pressure, but top lane's going okay. You've still got a lot of control in the mid lane, and Vi will be able to continue to just keep pressure on and use these pushing lanes to try and look for these objectives and control the lane.
Yeah, we'll have to see. If that top lane dive had gone better, I feel like
Oh, yeah.
SE would have a pretty huge advantage right now. But now you have Enpa with his Ignite down. He's obviously opted to take that Ignite. I don't know if he can be as aggressive up against Kiaya now, and it sort of neuters the Riven pick.
Kill threat's definitely not there without the Ignite online, and especially being able to back with that single cloth armor. So, but as long as you can keep it up, I want to see a bit more of the hard shove, crash the wave, and then go annoy the jungler type style from Enpa, rather than just try and harry Kiai under lane. But now Levi, he's been a little bit quiet so far in this split, as we mentioned, but he is looking to be active today on a farming jungler at that. So actually, just escorting Kiai's top wave in, but if Enpa oversteps, that could be dangerous.
It could be. Levi, I think he is just covering, anticipating possible DNK action towards this top side. But it doesn't end up happening, so he will just drift down and meet his opposite number near this seafood in the river. And with Carty being able to just always perma-shove the wave, it will be GAM controlling the crustacean.
Yeah, Carty had the bounce on this particular push, on this particular wave, so that will benefit them. Tier 1, though, has been doing pretty well to keep Carty on tower, has backed for that early Oblivion Orb, so means gank opportunities start to become somewhat viable against Dia. It's not really going to mean all that much, but once we hit that level 9 mark for Carty, then should have absolute perma priority as mentioned. But just that top, everything's just sort of slowed down, which is kind of not what SBTC was going for, but that bot lane gank just completely killed their momentum there, and now they're just a little bit behind. It's a pickaxe to a Noon Quiver, so the shove and power just feels a little bit better for the side of style, and with Colin Pocket, that means the scaling is going just the way they want it.
It's true, but at the same time, it's not a canyon between them. It's just that little river. GAM moving over there. This should buy them priority on this first dragon. I don't think DNK wants to do anything. Maybe go for a steal, but it's really not worth it. He's not going to do it. This is a good early objective for GAM, but the next question becomes a Rift Herald, where Enpa is much stronger, because look what Enpa's just done.
Yeah, he's gone and done a little bit of thievery. Picking up a red buff right now. He might run into Carty, and this could leave him in a... Okay, no, he's just gonna zoop over the wall. Feels pretty comfortable there, and yeah, just this top side, it belongs pretty comfortably to Enpa in terms of priority, as long as he wants it. Of course, doesn't have it right now. And this should mean that if they commit to this Rift Herald before a swap can come in from these 80 carries, advantage should really lie in the side of SBTC, and then they can use that to break open gold. It feels a little bit rough though, because you have to race against a Cloud Drake, which means the rotation to that Rift Herald is going to be a little bit too fast for SBTC's liking.
We are also seeing one of the weaknesses of Yuumi. B was able to reset a little bit early because Style was under no threat. He just resets early. He goes on the roam. He's now very, very far ahead. Paulette obviously unable to do that because he needs to get carried back out onto the map realistically. So this kind of forces SE to say, okay, we're not going to get the Rift Herald. We're going to go for the plates. Now they back on that. SE, I feel like they get nothing out of this situation.
He can't really go for the plates because Zeri hasn't really shown themselves, so they can assume she's running down there. You don't have dive threat, you have Yuumi. So you're just going to have to try and race yourself up there as quickly as possible. They are going to be able to get there in time. GAM have not started up anything. And so this should actually end up being the Shelly bargain for the side of GAM, taking the plates onto the Zeri instead of the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation there. This does get the Zeri further ahead individually, but with Enpa moving over, potentially getting that Herald dropped in his lane could become a real lane bully as this game goes on. This is something we've seen when Enpa has gone towards this Riven. It's actually not going to be dropped for him, it doesn't look like, but still, the point stands. I think he's played it twice and he's won one, lost one. But in both games, he was unstoppable in the side lane. That's how he plays this pick. He just locks down that 1v1 and just has to pray that his team is able to hold their own in the 4v4.
Yeah, unfortunately, this side lane has not been really breaking up the way he has wanted it to. So I would really expect / prefer just the standard funnel the Civ and get the 500 civil win CS civil win condition type thing going, because I don't think Enpa is ever going to feel truly challenged by Kiaya in a side lane. I think at best it's going to be a bit of a wash on both sides, maybe depending on a gank here or there. But getting that Civ going, catching up for the to make up for that cull that you didn't go for. I think that's where you really want to get things going, get this big team fighter, and let Celebrity carry on. One of the two champions he's really stood out on this split.
Yeah, but if we do look at that ADC matchup, you can see that Style is already tier 1 boots ahead, and the Cull hasn't actually popped yet. He's still got 6 CS left on that one. So yeah, it's a little bit brutal. It will be for a little while. Of course, these things will begin to even out if the game stays quiet. This is a glacially paced VCS game at the moment, as we are only at 2 kills, coming on 12 minutes. But for now, and potentially for the mid game as well, it is GAM sort of with the advantage.
Yeah,
in goes B, immediately wants to do it. There's a paranoia as well, but I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on it. Not with DNK showing stuff. No, of course they will. Celebrity moving forward, breaks the fear tether. DNK able to zone them away. They can't go under tower against this Vi.
Yeah, DO1 is there, and there was a really nice little step from Carty.
Soul Shackles immediately broken there. Can't hit the Dark Binding either. DNK with the fancy feet.
Yeah, and DO1's just heading straight back towards this mid lane tower, trying to get the shove. He has the teleport if he wants it, but it can be matched by Kiaya. That's not necessarily something I want to try. So they're just going to try and force them off. DNK stepping forward, but of course Black Shield a nuisance. So overall, it's another plate, a fair amount expended, but they've cancelled the recalls. They feel safe. They are going to be in pain.
Party on the way. There's the Black Shield being used. They go straight on to Celebrity. They know where their bread is buttered. Levi just fending them off. As with B, Celebrity goes down. GAM, you can't think they're gone until you know for sure.
Just DO1 or even caught a reset somewhere in there, and he's gone for the Imperial Mandate. That's not good anymore. It's like, you have a lot of damage on your team. I understand that. You don't necessarily need that. But if you're the sole AP threat, I guess Paulette, but we're not on the new patch. We're not back to Artillery Uni. It's still heal bot. Go to the Leandries. It's just better.
I don't 100% agree, because I don't think anyone's building armor on this team. But regardless, Herald summoned up in the mid lane. Let's have a replay of what went wrong bot. This is the this is actually the second half of the play.
Yeah, this is the second half, and the splitting out Celebrity, just isolating him from the Yuumi and the Vi is just really, really good to see, and they're just going to do it again.
Yep.
Yuumi has left the bot lane. It is Jungle Yuumi now.
Yep, this is Stray 2022. The cat's missing as they throw a lot of CC at DO1, force the Demonic Ascension. I don't know if he wanted to keep walking forward there, because now he's had to burn his flash because of the threat of Style. He's locked up again, goes gold, but he'll be able to get converted. That's a huge mistake by DO1.
Yeah, just starting to see the standard things. SBTC, they come in looking okay. No, there was no chance. No chance at all.
Yes, there was. DK was in the pit. He nearly stole it, didn't actually get it in the end, as they're on the run now. Final chapter, trying to buy space, uses the Vault Breaker as well, doing everything he can. Assault and Battery goes in, no, doesn't quite get it done. DNK goes down. Paulette has to jump to Celebrity, try and get away, but oh no, a Dark Binding lands, and SE have fallen apart.
SBTC are going to need a new logo. This time, turn it to get away from the chicken and turn it to the ants who go marching one by one into the goddamn meat grinder that is GAM. Because that's what they just did there. And before I was interrupted by a replay, oh my god. Yeah, we see here, DNK jumped over the pit wall, but so much health left on the dragon that GAM can just turn. And I mean, I'm surprised they didn't try and kill DNK earlier, but yeah, here, they just try and turn again for no reason. DNK, I guess they no celebrity here, but you're still at a numbers disadvantage. Vi goes in way too far alone, and Celebrity just, you don't have enough spell shields. And yeah, they fall apart. Once the game starts to fall apart, SBTC reverts to a solo queue mentality, and that's just how it's going to happen.
Yeah, and if we look up on the top side, the Riven counter pick has not worked at all. Kiara has managed to get towards his Mythic. He's got that Gore Drinker, and evidently he feels strong enough to just face up to Enper, and it's Enper that has to play on the back foot.
Yeah, the time Enper spent going for that red buff has actually really hurt him, because it took a little bit longer than I think he was expecting to, and so he's fallen behind a decent amount in that CS lane just by sort of virtue of not being in the lane enough. So we're all just kind of losing across the map. Celebrity are going to try and get something back here.
Yeah, they go find their way in onto Carty. The Black Shield dodges a lot, but won't dodge enough. And Celebrity, oof. Oh god, I misread the kill feed there for a second. I actually thought Celebrity had somehow died. Maybe I'm just getting used to SE players dying for no reason, as it is in fact Carty that goes down. But GAM are going to answer it with a push in the mid lane.
Get a tower as
DNK.
well. I think we saw that.
Moving in, trying to get in onto the cow. There's the Paranoia. Demonic Ascension comes in. A lot of damage going through onto Levi. Enper will pick up that kill. B going low. Dia 1, big threat in that circle. SE do manage to answer back.
Yeah, they managed to actually pull it out, survive that entire thing, getting Levi down as well, so no Rift Herald drop. Actually, a massive win considering they were fighting without Celebrity. They just had their biggest damage source was gone, but Enper was enough to carry it home, pick up that kill onto Levi, and that will get him into a much more comfortable position as he continues, and maybe give him the opportunity to race ahead of this Aatrox.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Enper, I think you hinted at it earlier, and I think the way the game is going has only made you more and more correct. I don't think Enper can win this game through side lanes. I think he has to be a team fight threat. He has to be a frontline threat that allows Celebrity to be that ridiculous auto attack machine that we know Sivir can be. Speaking of the Sivir, he is farming up, but the elephant in the room has green hair and shoots electricity.
And is delaying the Infinity Edge, which I don't like. Titanic fine, but it kind of needs to be fourth. You really aren't doing much damage without that Infinity Edge. If you have your ultimate up, it's a little bit better, and you can survive the you can actually participate in fights a little bit better. But outside of that, if you have no ult, you have no Infinity Edge, you don't really do any damage. It's not going to matter because the rest of GAM is just in such a commanding position. But small things. If it's just the stop off at the Tiamat for a bit of extra push, I'll allow it.
Yeah,
I'm watching you stop.
Yeah, we got our eyes on you. And there's a lot to watch.
On speed dial.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything.
He's not. He's not much of a genius to split. But regardless, he's 3,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, 650 gold shutdown on his head. That's a bounty that GAM would love to pick up, but if Carty just goes and sits next to him, a lot of your options dissipate. You don't have that cease and desist to work with, because Black Shield's just kind of bonkers OP.
It is a very strong spell.
And that's almost another reason why we didn't want Imperial Mandate on Swain. Also, okay, look, Dia's trolling. You cannot go any other item second than Rylai's if you're going Mandate, because otherwise you're not really proccing it and getting the benefit. Like, otherwise you have to land your E, which is kind of hard, or your W, which is also kind of hard.
Very hard. If you're playing against, people that can turn their computers on, you don't hit the W.
He's absolutely trolling, and
I mean, look, I feel like Dia.
so mad.
I don't disagree that it's the wrong decision, but I want to give Dia like the slight excuse of he went Imperial Mandate because he actually got the Bandle Glass Mirror super early. He got it on like his first bag. I think he committed to Imperial Mandate after bot lane went well, and he went, sweet, I can just be that kind of supportive Swain. And then everything went wrong, and he went, I really need a Zhonya's. Because he does need a Zhonya's.
He does,
but he also really needs a Rylai. What he needs is about 3,000 gold.
He needs to either, I don't know. I said it at the start. I don't think Rylai's is ever really worth going at this. Imperial Mandate's really worth it. I mean, Swain's kind of fallen out of favor in general across the meta, but he still can do a lot of damage with the right build and with the Leandries, and just I feel like Mandate. It was cool. It was nice, but its day has passed, and DO1 is still stuck in the past, as is a lot of the people who still think he's that absolute menace he was in
You're really
2020.
going hard. Did someone piss in your cereal today?
Yeah.
Did Pip bite you? Or... You're not happy.
No, I like Swain. I really like the new Swain. But you're just making it shit. Hate this guy.
Harvey.
Meanwhile, on the other side, three sources of heal cut. They know what they see the Yuumi, they see the Swain. They are getting rid of that as quickly as possible. And look, it's just GAM. GAM's just really good.
Yeah, they are. I mean, this is... All of our analysts predicted a 3-0 for a reason. As DNK has caught on. This should be a kill. Picked up onto Levi. Not very well positioned there. They're trying to get something done, but the rest of GAM have arrived. Enpa goes into the ultimate, has to move on out. B going low. Now there's some shurikens bouncing around. Celebrities getting a lot done. Riven has fallen, but the Aatrox goes down as well. B extremely low. Dia trying to deal the damage, but doesn't quite have it. Goes gold for a moment. Style wants to be the carry. Can he land this last little bit of damage over onto DNK? Yes, he can. Celebrity has a Yuumi. It's a 3v3 on the map. B can't rejoin though. Really a 2v3, but SE aren't able to find their way back in.
Yeah, can't quite get it in, can't quite get it done, and we saw how much healing was done by Kiaya that stalled it out and made it go okay in the end for GAM, but Celebrity got to be untouched for most of that. And unfortunately for them, they're just going to have to get those kills and walk away. They pick up Levi very early on, and then it's just out of position a little bit. Enpa they feel like they can collapse on him, but DNK can't get into touch Kiaya. He can't apply the heal cut, and I believe he's the only one on the team with it. So he just gets a nice big heal, buys enough time for the ramps to start up for Style, gets enough kill onto Enpa, and it's just pans out okay as DNK goes a bit deep to finish that one off.
Yeah, look, I mean, if he hits that Q, they probably do kill the Zeri, but he wasn't particularly close to hitting it.
Yeah, good luck hitting that Q is also the thing with that extra dash is just hard to catch. And now we're moving on. Heal cut's starting to come in Palette. So once that Putrefy is complete, Kiai will not have nearly as much fun in team fights. But Celebrity has the push. And
but they have to go back because a Shirelius has been popped. In goes B. They want to get it started
Here's
onto
play.
Dia, pops into Monica Centron. Style has the ultimate running as well. Kiaya on the side, has the World Ender going. There's the Paranoia. They finally use it, and DNK gets ripped back with those infernal chains. The fight continues in GAM's favor, as Enpa will fall as well. Can do nothing in the backline. Kiaya threatening forward, but GAM will take their 2 kills, and they'll head to Baron.
Yep, that's it. Jungler down, top laner down. Celebrity can wreak a lot of havoc in an enclosed area, but D1 has no ultimate, there's no flash, he has no mana, so it's just going to end up being a trade-off. It will stop the soul, but that's a Baron, and there is still a lot of standing gold on the map for GAM to take. It's not like they need it, but they are definitely going to take it.
Yeah, I actually think this is about as good as SE could have hoped for. The fact that they, quote-unquote, only lose the Baron. I mean, I think Infernal Soul is stronger than Baron. I know that's a hot take, Marby. But a buff that lasts the entire...
Goodbye, DNK.
I think DNK might be dead when we come out of this replay.
He might be dead, but it's a nice start of an engage onto Dia1, and then just Dia1 is zoned completely out of the fight, and his ultimate runs out so early that he just doesn't really get to participate. It's a little bit sus on that pullback from DNK. He's probably calling shenanigans, but Emperor tries to salvage the play, but stopwatch on top of B means that's okay. DNK didn't die.
Okay.
He didn't
I
die.
guess they just didn't want to overcommit onto him. Paranoia comes in onto the sideline. Levi is fighting Enpa 1v1. Clearly not scared of him whatsoever, as he's got friends coming. Well, he had friends, and that's what matters. The power of friendship gets B a kill. DNK thinks about it, then goes, I've decided against it. A teleport from Carty, and Garma committing to the bot side as they have Style sitting up top, shredding down the base towers. It's all gone wrong for SE.
Yeah, Paranoia is correct. Empa, I mean, we saw that, could have absolutely just minced Levi, but did not realize quite how far away B and Kiaya were, so ends up falling down, can't get to his team in time either. And yeah, just it's a bit of a pointless teleport from Cardi. I think he was predicting a bit more of a push by SBTC to try and actually engage a fight and take that opportunity while him and Star were in the top side, but in the end, nothing done. Bit of a, not the best usage, but you still got the towers on top side. You still won the skirmish bot. Just gotta sit back and come back for the next siege, and how long that's gonna be, 40 seconds left on the Baron. You can probably do that. You can take that mid tower. I believe in you.
I believe in them too, Marby. We have a lot of belief. We're believers here. I mean, look, let's not beat around the bush, Marby. It's an 11k gold difference in 28 minutes.
It's
a bit of a canyon.
It's 4 items there. Celebrity's still working on that Infinity Edge. It's not going well. It's looking like a little bit of a diffy in the items department, pretty much across the board.
I mean, I think there's a diffy in
DNK is still hunting for that mythic. That person is going to be.
This is actually really interesting. As a VCS caster, is this the first game we have ever cast where the junglers have just not existed? Levi's not had a particularly good game either. He's had some decent Nocturne ults, but overall he's had a pretty average game, and DNK's had a shocker.
I feel like there's been some. I feel like there was
ones that don't involve Drakthar.
There were the SCB games against Genius, where the game just ended before BJ could really do anything. It's just kind of along for the ride, but other than that sort of thing, no. The junglers tried a little bit at the start, and then just the game was won and lost around them.
To sort of go back to something we were talking about earlier, if SE can't win with this draft, and they obviously, I think, controversial take here, I think GAM's going to win this game. They're very, very heavy favorites right now. If they can't win with Sivir, Yuumi, Vi, that are just S+ tier on the patch, what do they even do? order pizza for like 45 minutes from now. Like,
I think like I don't know. Just try not to give up at the first falter, first sign of faltering, because that's kind of what just happened. They lost it. They had really strong early momentum coming out the gate, but a bit of a fumble on the top dive, and then a counter gank bot side. And then SBTC just sort of hold up, and then, except for occasional we're gonna try and salvage play. We're gonna try and help a caught out member and try and just solo queue it. And this has been a big faltering, big problem for this team, this organization, ever in history. So I know if I'm SVTC, what am I looking to do? Maybe Seg kind of needs some help in the team mentality coaching department, because that's a soul. Next game.
One thing I do want to say is I think people are going to look at this team comp and they're going to say that the Riven's the problem because it's the weird pick, right? It's not. The Riven's fine. Maybe you don't pick it again because just put Enper on like Nah or something, just something a little bit more standard. But Enper is not the problem this game. It was a complete bot lane and jungle collapse.
I would definitely say the Riven was not
the solution.
It definitely didn't do what it was intended to do at all. It didn't win a lane. It didn't really end up doing anything. But no, it's a mental collapse. It's a just macro difference. They're just not able to really put things out. I think almost the solution is put Paulette back onto Nautilus. He's been pretty good this split, and I feel like they work a little bit better with him calling the shots. Lulu was good. But again, I want him calling the shots. It's the RNG Ming situation. Ming can play Enchanters very well. RNG does not work very well with Ming on Enchanters. So it might be the same sort of thing for SBTC, because he's played some nice Lulu games. They just haven't really done anything with it.
Yeah, it's a hard to diagnose problem at the moment. Celebrity popping the ultimate just to run away, always a bad sign for Civ teams, as an inhib has fallen, as has a tower. A second inhib will be joining it, and GAM, this is just methodical. They know they don't need to do anything fancy here. They can just slowly push the bot lane, and then the game will end itself.
Yeah, this is the GAM hates the casters type of play, where they could just take a fight, and they'd win 99% of the time. But they want to make us talk. They want to make us sweat. They want to make us work for it. They don't need to.
No, they don't.
It's just cruel and unusual punishment.
Look, the thing is, coming into this series, GAM are the heavy favorite. I think we all expected them to win this series. As I said, we all predicted a 3-0 Kiaya, trying to get something started, lands a knock up onto Enper, but he is a slippery dip as he gets away. The third inhib falls though, and GAM, I mean, as you said, they could just take a fight and end it. It wouldn't surprise me if they end up resetting one more time though.
If they reset one more time, I'm going to be mad. But
not with the Dark Lightning landing. They're just going to go straight in. There's the paranoia. Vi's already gone down. Style unable to be locked down. Not with the Black Shield, not with the Guardian Angel. Enper gets away onto the fountain, but only just. Style playing gatekeeper here as he rat-a-tat-tats those bullets over. The Nexus is the next target in his eyes. Dia 1 falls right as the game ends, and GAM show why they are the favorites to win this split.
Absolute dominance. Just picked pretty much whatever the hell they felt like, and the entirety of what SBTC wanted to do just kind of felt stifled immediately. As we moved on into the later phases, that threat of the Black Shield completely denied most options for DNK, and I almost just think ban the Morgana, especially because they had the opportunity in the round 2 bans. So if you can get that first half of a draft again and then just ban out a Morgana, you might have a bit more success. And then a bit more standard top lane.
Maybe. I think SE have a lot of thinking to do while GAM are going to be cruising Hanke handing out those bananas. With that, we are going to go take a break so we can refuel ourselves as well. Don't go anywhere, guys. It's VCS English bringing you VCS Playoffs action.
Is the dream still alive? Still the image of perfection? Sweet little delight, a happy disaster, an easy lie. What sometimes hurt befriends rejection. It's kinda rich, I know, when you're the one denied. Is this a role or disguise? Seeking mercy in creation. Just another device, or truly a time when we will rise. Oh, one and all to the occasion, and bridge the gap to see the other side. What day and night become vertigo. You still light up my soul like a burning halo. We're on alright, we go on with the show, looking for something more, chasing echoes. Are you really surprised to hear the daydream shop went bankrupt? Truly beside yourself, 'cause the carnival closed down. When the show suddenly stops, no matter how much you got, it's still cold out here alone. Where day and night become vertigo. You still light up my soul like a burning halo. We're on alright, we go on with the show, looking for something more, chasing echoes. Pleasure hides within meanings lost, looking for a quick fix, fulfillment fast lane. Pleasure lies about the cost of keeping the dream alive, alive. Where day and night become vertigo. You still light up my soul like a burning halo. We're on alright, we go on with the show, looking for something more, chasing echoes. Oh, looking for something more, chasing echoes.
Hello and welcome back, of course, still to the VCS 2022 playoffs, summer playoffs even, and it's us again, the German analyst desk, and what we just saw was GAM styling on SBTC. At least that's what I would call it. Of course, I have my two analysts with me to talk about the game, and first, to talk about the draft, because that was quite the interesting draft, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, on SBTC side, I think we have talked about, yes, Riven might not be meta, but it's definitely comfort for Emperor in a matchup he wanted. And then you have one of the best, if not the best jungler currently in Vi. You have one of the best mid laners for sure in Swain. And also Swain, I think, has a really nice game because GAM wants to run and engage into a Swain, which is the perfect position for this champion. And then you also have Yuumi and Sivir to buff him up. And then you, of course, have Yuumi Sivir, one of the most dominating mid and late game lanes, which also usually wins lane quite often. So you have a strong lane. And I think that's something we actually did see in game. They were able to get the early level 2. They were able to get that solo kill. And they should have been able to snowball that lead. But in the end, it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, and for the other side, for me, this win for GAM is actually a little bit concerning. Like, I'm not very worried because we know GAM has been experimenting with a lot of scrims, practice, and different compositions here and there. But to me, this draft wasn't the greatest, and we kind of saw glimpses of that, even though they dominated SBTC. Look at Levi's performance in that first game and tell me that he played a good game. I don't think so. Like, he had good early ganks, but the Nocturne looked really useless later on in the game, understandably so. How can Nocturne play against these champions on the other side? So I would like to see GAM actually go a little bit more towards meta, or at least explore a few more things of the global meta stuff, because yeah, to me they're a little bit too, I don't know, a little bit too special right now with these drafts. I'm a little bit scared for them.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting that you pointed out that Levy didn't really have the greatest game, but GAM still had a dominant victory. So, why did SBTC not win with this draft?
Well, you know, if you pause the game at 10 minutes and both bot lane and top lane are 30 CS down, that's not a good start. It's honestly just mostly back to GAM dominance in lanes. They never really had any. I mean, okay, they got solo killed in 2v2 lane, level 2, kind of just miscounted minions. Rookie mistake, but it can happen. It's alright. And then they never looked back after that. Every lane won, everything went into GAM's favor. I think they did lose first Rift Herald, so I guess that was a decent play from SPTC, but yeah, I mean, the Riven was completely useless, the Vi was completely useless, and then you only have 3 champions to work with. They tried their best, but just hand stiff, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely was a hand stiff, and one that some people might have even expected. Now, Tim, we saw actually a huge difference in the top lane, especially. I want to highlight that. Was that something we expected, or was that, a surprise in a way?
I think if you asked me right before the split, I would have told you, yeah, I mean, Kiaya is going to body Emperor any day of the week. And then we got into the split, we got into the first series, and it was a wash. I mean, it was a series, I think, where Emperor got the legendary 9 solo kills on Kiaya, which is absolutely insane. And you had great first series from Emperor there. And then in the second series, I think it was much closer, and Kiaya looked like the better top lane again. And I think in this series, again, Kiaya, so far in game 1, was a much better top laner. He was ganked early, he turned it around, got 2 flashes, and after that words just dominated the lane on CS.
Yeah, and as we go into draft, I think one thing to take away from this graphic very quickly is the champions played from the winning team. Na Gwen for Emperor in the first series, and Na in the second series for Kiaya. So we might have to look a little bit more towards those 2 champions, especially for Emperor, the 2 most played champions for him by a long shot. I think he has 10 games each on those champions. So maybe you just need to pick a Na for Emperor and hope for the best, because he has definitely been looking super strong on this champion. As we have the Sivir first pick again, we are on the same sides again, SPTC choosing blue side, and let's see if they just go for the salty run back, because honestly, we like their draft, we didn't like the execution, so maybe the run back is the best thing they can hope for.
Yeah, honestly, I think they have to kind of run it back because your draft is not getting better. I mean, that's probably like the S+ draft you can actually get, and I mean, GAM is down. They're ready to return. And now the big question is, I think the Yuumi is kind of set. I was asking maybe you go for a different jungler, but it ends up being the Vi once again. And now, do we see the Yuumi again? Yeah, I mean, it's literally game 1 draft. Oh no. Okay.
Yes.
So we might be changing support. One thing I don't want to see, because I felt like the Alistair pick was one of the best ones that GAM actually did as a counter to the Sivir Yuumi lane. It was really the pick that I liked most from GAM's draft, outside maybe the Zeri that is of course meta. But
Tim just praised Alistair. Clip it.
I mean, Alistair would have been understandable, but they decided not to go for it. Instead, going for the Morgana, which, I mean, in a way has worked out. Kati, you pointed it out, very a play with a lot of achievements, at least in the VCS itself. And now we'll see a second game of Morgana from him. Not the most interesting pick, and this game, to be quite honest, also not the most influential pick, but it kind of did what it had to do.
Aatrox now being taken out, by the way. So there's no salty run back. GAM can go here with the Aatrox.
Okay, they should also ban Alistair. Just why not? I mean, he did win lane early on, but just remove the threat and give Celebrity a little bit more to play for. Maybe try to just tell Celebrity not to in for wave 3 times in a row. That could also help. But let's look at Kiai. He could just go Renekton here. Just pick Renekton and leave support counter pick.
But you see the bot lane. So you could just go Lulu and just handshake basically.
I don't think DS played a Lulu yet, so that would be a little bit surprising to me. Let me quickly check my stats. But because Palette is actually one of the big Lulu players, but there hasn't been a single Lulu pick.
So we're just... It's just Submarine Nocturne yeeting into the backline with the Black Shield, with the Shen Shield, and then right in there. Galio's sadly being taken out.
I want to see a cannon in the top lane for Kiaya, and then Shen into bot lane, and we just go full on dive, and Zeri dances around in the back line or something. I don't know. Sounds pretty fun to me.
Now we might see Italia banned in the last game from SSBTC themselves in the second rotation. So now they pick it up for themselves. They have a bit more of map movement, and they of course have the wall that often in pro play is used very effectively to just zone away enemies from an objective you want to take. You take the objective, then you run away quickly, and so you can actually take objectives without fights. We have to see how Dia1 can use that champion. Definitely in the beginning of the season, one of his best champions, and the Ornn for Emperor is just, I mean, it's bored. The champion is broken, beyond control. I love it.
Okay, this was an adaptation we actually kind of wanted to see, so this draft might even be a little bit better. I like the Swain, but I think Talia gives them a little bit more late game options, a little bit more zone control. Can also group up with the Vi maybe for an early bot dive, though that's kind of hard to set up with Sivir Yuumi, but let's see. Maybe they can also just use the Talia wall to prevent Levi ganks. The last pick, Instalock Camille. That's an old Kiaya classic. Personally, not the biggest fan of Camille right now, but she seems to be slowly coming back into the meta. And yeah, I mean, another diver for Levi and B. So everyone is just jumping into the back line, just as I wanted to see. I thought Cannon was a better option here, but I guess for lane and side laning, the Camille is probably a little bit more potent at punishing the Ornn later on in the game, so I can see why they did it. It's risky though.
I mean, all in all, Morgana is still the only AP source, but let's not talk about the draft too much more, because of course we still have to ask who is gonna win out in the second game after the first game kind of went according to expectations. Tim, I'll start with you. Who do you think has the better draft? Who do you think will win the game?
I think SPTC actually did somehow manage to upgrade their draft even more, go for even stronger champions, especially champions that maybe take a bit less hand, specifically in the top lane. And GAM somehow downgraded their draft even more. I feel like it's even worse than it was in game 1. So I feel like it should be an SPTC win, but still I believe the same thing is true as in game 1. I think GAM is so much better that nothing matters. They could literally play 5 Teemos and they would still win the game. So I believe GAM is going to win.
You'll wait. Quick answer.
GAM wins.
So they want to make it as interesting as possible, GAM say, and according to my analysts, they downgrade their draft even a notch. But we'll head over to the casters, of course, to bring you the live action over to Mabby and to Carrix.
Well, I can't believe it, but they did it. They actually managed to get a better draft than game number 1, Marby. I didn't think it was possible.
I mean, that's not Riven this time. That's generally, like, Riven wasn't the problem, but generally putting in an Ornn instead of Riven will make your draft better. And
more than half of that I agree with.
Yeah, but just like I'm just don't care. I'm just picking whatever they feel like, and they definitely are not playing for the early game. They feel absolutely confident that SBTC will throw away any early game advantages they gather. That's why they're allowed to. That's why they feel perfectly fine just picking a Shen support whose only function in this game is to put a shield on Levi as he goes in.
Oh, they've got a bit of a trap set up in the bush. I don't think they're going to spring it though. B does have the taunt leveled. Surely not.
Yeah, he has the taunt leveled, and he can go for it. But unless he catches Paulette in a really bad position where he's not on thing, I still think you just kind of lose.
Well, they're going to go for it anyway, and it kind of looks like they might just be losing as an exhaust shuts down Styles damage, and they do not win that trade.
Also for Ghost, so it's a pretty even trade. And it's a trade in summoner spells, but yeah, like the level 1 taunt, if you can catch Yuumi off her partner, then yeah, absolutely fantastic. You smash that. It does buy them the level 2, which I suppose is a good thing, but yeah, overall just it's not for lane. And you're not playing Shed for lane. That's a silly thing to even hint at. So you're just gonna wait. You're just gonna try and get everything up to level 6. Then you can put a Black Shield and a Stand United on Levi, and he will be an absolute nutcase diving full on in there with absolutely no qualms. You're just gonna hope for the best. And Emperor is feeling the wrath of Camille.
Yeah, Enfer not having a good time up here. He's actually been a fairly decent Ornn player when he has picked it up, but it does feel like such a tragedy putting a player that as aggressive and as cutthroat as Enper on Ornn. It's a bit depressing until he hits level 6.
Yeah, it's nice to see in the sense that I'm always looking forward to seeing this guy expand his pool, provide some other options, if he can be a nice Ornn and a decent tank player, and that can develop him into a well-rounded thing that his supposed mentor Zeros could never really be, and that would make him an absolute mental asset for teams in the future who are looking for a good top laner. Free him from the org. It's been rough. Like I'm just so sad watching the collapse from SBTC.
You need to stop choosing violence today.
I had to rap for these guys. I will get my payment. Like these I'm happy to see Emperor, even if they're not necessarily. It's not necessarily the best choice in the moment for the team. And I might actually impact their chances of winning. I'm glad to see it, if nothing else, to see this get developed.
Yeah, I mean, Enper is definitely a player that I think we're all excited what he will become in the next year or so. But regardless, we have a quiet early game. Really, just that one trade on the bottom side is all we've seen. We do see that SE have definitely taken a different approach in this one, as unlike last game, they have opted into the Cull handshake. So it's likely that we do end up just having a bit of a slow one.
Slow one. Just gonna try and farm this one out. Mid lane as well. Pretty much just that farm fest early back for a tier coming out of Dia. So yeah, just gonna take it slow, try and scale up towards a bit of a mid game. This Rift Herald is where it's gonna come in. Popping out like that, always a little bit dangerous against a Shen. So they might have done the Shadow Dash, I think. I don't know. I missed that if he did, but just...
I think just with where the minions were, They didn't really win the trade because they would have been taking a whole wave. DNK is going to mosey down to the bot lane, but is going to catch them on a reset. So Vi, unable to do anything with that first showing on the map, not that she necessarily needed to, has gone an Executioner's Calling first item.
Yeah, that's a
Interesting
bit.
decision.
That's a bit strange. Because you don't have a lot to worry about. Like,
It helps you
Styles
not
gonna
turn
go-
1v1. It helps you not, if you want to
Does he
try
heal that
one. Yeah, he's passive. Yeah, the Umbral Blades.
That heals. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I've read Nocturne. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read that tooltip for a while. So small things like that I will miss, but yeah, no, it does still feel.
A lot of
I
healing.
feel like just getting damage will do more for you, though. Getting actual damage instead of the small heal cut that's on the executioners. But anyway, it's fine. Just it's gonna do a little bit against Morgana as well with her a little bit. Zeri's gonna be building a healing the Immortal Shield bow, so it'll be fine. It's not the end of the world, but
Chempunk is also just a good item, to be fair.
it's definitely not that bad now. It copped a small nerf on this patch or the patch before, but it's still good. It's still good. I would
SE
maybe like
picking
to
the first
see it
trade?
just. Yeah, I would maybe like to see it just tunnel until you finish off the mythic first, but.
So this is going to be topside prio traded for a dragon. Levi knows he can move in, steal away every camp he would ever dream of. Has paranoia, but I don't know if you want to dive a full health Ornn, particularly not with where the minion wave is. I don't think that's going to happen yet. Levi's just going to back. Now the question becomes reset timings for a Rift Herald, because it doesn't look like GAM's bot lane is particularly interested in backing. But of course, one of them doesn't have to.
Yeah, no. We can just kind of chill out down there. Provided he can hit the level 6. We have
he
seen
is level
supports
6.
be completely allergic to experience before, so if he gets that, that's fine. If not, he's going to have to start wandering, but just looking for a bit of a quick reset, fourth side of Emperor, free him out of this lane. Maybe just in time for a Rift Herald to spawn, so looks like that's
so you
going to
just
be
get
from
this.
DNK. And yeah, no move on the other side of the map. It'd just take a bit of a steal from Levi, but he's not making moves. He doesn't have smite.
Yeah, I mean, SE are kind of just running the map right now. Because this will be Herald taken unless Cardi does something absolutely illegal. He doesn't. DNK will secure that one. Yeah, overall, this is a great early game for SE. They're 300 gold ahead, which is obviously not much. But they've also got a Dragon and a Herald in the pocket. This couldn't be going too much better.
Yeah, Baze now decided to free himself from the map and at the cost of a tower plate. He's going to just do a little wander through, try and hunt for something, but SPTC are playing very far back. They're not necessarily extending too much, hunting aggressively for invades or anything into the enemy side jungle, so he's not really going to be able to get a lot done, and it will just buy the time for a nice reset from Celebrity. Still not quite at that mythic item, but pretty comfortably making his way there. As
Dun, 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 dun. Choo. We all saw that.
Patience.
We all saw that, DNK. Observers doing the man dirty.
About the most interesting thing on the map, so
That's true.
fair enough, observers. Fair enough. You get this one. Kia is gonna grab a plate of his own and nick away. Emperor's just gonna do his little best to clear up away, but still a little bit slow to do before that gauntlet comes through.
Yeah, he is a ways away from it, as you said. DNK lurking in the bottom side. Looks like they want to try and get this Rift Herald gold onto the Zeri. It makes sense. She's a damn good target for it. If they can try and accelerate her ahead of... onto the Sivir. I know, shut up. Onto the Sivir. I mean, my point still stands. They're the same champ.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely correct. But it's being read by Levi, and it's really not rough for them because they want B to hit that level 6. They want that extra shield to be viable for them. Because right now, it's a big experience advantage for SPTC, and there it is. There's the shield, but still, ultimates I would tend to favor what SPTC has. Although, DNK has left. So
Yeah, no, DNK's
careful
running
now.
top. They're going to try and dive Kiaya.
yeah, they seem to have called that with Carty's positioning down towards this bot side river, SPTC has red, that GAM has red. So they know that they know. And so they're going to do the thing that they don't know. But they know.
Kiaya needs to be careful here. DNK, I feel like he could have committed to this. No, they're pinging that there was a ward. Oh
Yeah.
no! Kiaya faked them out. They think he was spotted, but he wasn't.
Yeah, I think that's just the call. They saw Celebrity and Palette back off, and they're like, okay, no, the jungle's not bot side anymore. Kiaya played safe. Kiaya backs off, and now DNK has just sort of done a run around the map for a whole lot of not much. And unfortunately, running around and getting a whole lot of not much done as a Vi hurts when you're up against the Nocturne, who just power farms through this jungle and picks up a decent advantage for himself.
Yeah, but DNK might try and find another way to the top side, but this time he will get spotted on a ward. Knows it as it is that troll ward, of course. Kiaya backing. Immediately TP's back to the top side, but into the bot lane we go. As with the jungler on vision, it means Levi can pull the trigger. Doesn't get anything done. A good final chapter out of Palette will put paid to that.
Yeah, just a couple of ultimates. Stand United wasn't even committed from B, so they can sort of come back to do a similar strategy again soon. Cardi is going to take a beating. Just
good zoning.
sitting in the corridor. And the Rift Herald will end up being passed off to DR1. That's a few plates. It's not quite as effective as they might have hoped, but opportunity is key.
Yeah, they are, in the end, SE continuing to sort of be the first to the play every time. They've actually done a really good job reading GAM, able to blunt the few things that GAM has done as Anpa calls in the ram. Wants to try and bring the clap down, but Kiaya, healing from the grasp, will keep him safe.
Yeah, the Divine Sunder already completed, so Kiaya should not be dying to Emperor in the 1v1. Unless there's a big misstep over into a tower.
Well, 1v1, it will not be. DR1 will arrive, but I don't know if he can get anything done. Gonna try and trade onto Kiaya, but it's not Kiaya that's tanking. The minions are heroes. Kiaya probably didn't even need to flash there.
Oh, no, he
And
did.
GAM get the kill.
Yeah, he just saw a little bit of the laser target onto him,
Oh, did
so
it?
had to flash. Or, I mean, it might not have, but it's definitely just wise to. And yeah, Stand United wasn't used before in that bot lane play, so everybody gets to come to the top side, and DR1 does his best, but he winds up in a 3v1.
I don't even think it's necessarily very good, though. They get one kill, lose a dragon, lose a tower. Does SE care?
Yeah, no, I was half expecting that top lane tower to be taken alongside it, so it's bad for Emperor, but SPTC are absolutely doing
Paranoia
fine
coming
everywhere
in.
else.
They catch DR1.
Yeah, alright, B and Levi are starting to take matters into their own hands. Silver
bored.
lining for SPTC, it's Carry Shen, baby. He's got all the kills. It's all on him. But yeah, just nice ward
on a
in that
random
lane,
ward,
and yeah, Paranoia apparently up again.
It's Levi. It's a hidden passive.
Only level 1. It shouldn't be up that fast.
It's powered by ancient screams of old Fnatic fans.
Yeah, definitely. It's still rank 1. There's no axiom mark. That's not fair. It's not right.
I remember when that item came out and everyone lost their minds, and then it never did anything.
It can be a nightmare in the ARAM world, but
yeah,
it has not impacted pro play in the way we expected it.
Everyone comparing it to Spear. Remember Spear of Shojin? Now that was an item. That was a real man's item. DNK gets to Rift Herald.
The Essence Reaver just before Spear of Shojin, which was Spear of Shojin, but also had the mana regen. That's an item.
That was an item. It's true. As Kiaya under a little bit of siege in the top lane. While we've got a moment, Marby, what is your all-time favorite item in League?
Caesar.
Oh, fair enough. As Enpa has to figure something out as he's in a lot of trouble. Dark Binding lands. Didn't have the W to dodge that one, so he will fall. But SE on the other side of the map are mounting a huge push in the top side. Kiaya just got betrayed, by the way.
Yeah, that Ricochet really selling him out, and that just means that...
He's going to call the play, though, because they've got those globals. The Shen is here as well. Celebrity immediately taken down Low, but Low is not zero, so he's able to continue putting out damage. Kiaya will get the kill, but go down in exchange. Out comes the boomerang. B just about lives. But SE are coming in force as Dia1 misses every single rock, doesn't get the knockback, and Levi gets away.
Well, if you miss everything, that doesn't help. But absolutely, really nice play coming out from the side of SBTC to trade that big global disadvantage to still sort of win out that trade in the 1-for-1. And then Dio came around and managed to secure them another. But absolutely, just absolutely fantastic play. Yeah, Emperor is sort of being the bait at this point. They're just trying to kill the Ornn over and over again, and he's been caught. But he's still doing all right. He's keeping up in experience, and that's all you need for this guy. You just need him to be up in experience until he hits level 14, 15, and his job's done. A few more ults, and that's all he needs. That's all that's required from him. As here, just D&K buying so much space for Celebrity. Can't quite get it done, and Kiaya is, of course, Camille just took him from a third health to nothing. So that was a bit more damage than I imagine he was expecting, and then the cut-off from Dia. Oh, actually, they didn't get anyone, did they? Wow.
No, they did not.
I just saw a dead Kiaya and thought, oh yeah, they killed a second person. Kiaya was second. No. Death timers are just death timers.
Yeah, that's just death timers. SE, 300 gold ahead at the moment, and a fight starting out immediately as they lead in with that final chapter. The Ornn Horn is blown, doesn't quite land the second knock up onto Style, so he's able to continue contributing to the fight. Levi incredibly low. Yuumi getting some value there as he puts some health into Celebrity. And SE will pick up another unanswered kill.
Yeah, it's just in time for this Dragon 2. 30 seconds away. Levi will be back up.
There's the Sivir ult. They want to keep this one going. Good Dark Binding to hold one of them back. But Cardi's in trouble. There's the Spirit Shackles into the Zhonyas. They break the tethers and re-engage. GAM know they have to back off, and it's sole point for SE. They are fighting back here in our quarterfinal.
Absolutely perfect timing on that knockback from Dia. Cat gets Cardi down. That's a dragon. That's sole point. They're even going to be able to probably pick up this mid lane tower as well. Might get traded out for top, but that's fine. Absolutely fine. You don't care. And because the gold has actually been kept really close by GAM, it's not like they're getting a big bounty to come back in with anything. That just... It's been a small lead, but it's felt like DO1 and the rest of GAM just make... GAM, SPTC... Making all the right plays.
Yeah, this has been a bit of death by 1,000 cuts from SE. There hasn't been any really huge breakpoints like we often expect in modern League of Legends. It's just been a lot of little plays where SE has been able to stop GAM doing anything and then make plays themselves. They got both Heralds. They've gotten 3 Dragons. D&K, after a bit of a shocker of a Game 1, has managed to come back in a major way in Game 2. And sure, it's not necessarily in the kills department, though he does have 3 assists, 100% kill participation. It has been in where he's been on the map. He's been able to read Levi really, really well. And despite having this very potent combo of the Shen Nocturne, I mean, the Shock Turn is just turned off.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned that GAM they were definitely not playing for early, but at this point, it feels like they might not even get the opportunity to play for late. Now, that said, it is only 20 minutes just cresting the horizon now. So there's still a lot of opportunity for scaling items to be built, etc., etc. And their goal lead isn't that far behind, but they're just there's the lack of control. They can't really seem to find the angles to get it in. But go to a side lane.
Go to a side lane, get some XP. Or your way will self-combust. This is the one thing we hate seeing in the VCS is Ornn's grouping at level 12. But in this situation, I actually think it's okay. They kind of need him here as a big beef ball so that they can break this inner tower.
Yeah, it's really annoying to see them group and just like try and hunt for fights that aren't really getting much done. But it's a good move to go up and siege directly on the tower. Has the teleport to try and stop Kiaya, but they read it and
Paranoia
dive straight
coming
on top.
out. The flash away means that that's 2 big ultimates committed, and no one from SE will actually go down. GAM once again are blunted in their aggression.
Yeah, just going on to probably the worst target with DNK. He can dash right back into the group of his team and with the flash as well. Emperor has just been able to, is just going to come back and make sure they have the opportunity now, because they have a big ultimate advantage. So they might be able to find a pick that leads them into this Baron. Here comes the Shirelias.
Tier 1 throwing in a wall, trying to segment them off. Cardi will be taken down immediately. The Vi ultimate onto Style. Doesn't really convert, but does keep him out of the fight for now. Kiaya on the other side of the map has taken a tower. And he is a persistent threat that will force SE to back off. Or are they just going to pull the trigger and go for a Baron? This is so bold.
The vision's there. They're gonna drag him up. There's not a teleport
I don't know
that
if
they
you can do
force.
this against Hex Gates.
No, teleport on Carti as well. So this is gonna be a very, very dangerous dragon. They are not even spotting it at all. They're just trying to draw him in to maybe go for a second round fight, but the angles are just not set up. They can't pull it off. So it's just a bit of time wasted.
But it's not a big deal there. Like, SE, they still reset in time for Dragon. That's what really matters. As long as they can get back to base and then back out on the map in time for this last big Dragon fight. I say last if they win it. Though, of course, GAM could still come out on top. The gold is still incredibly close. That's worth noticing. Yes, the individual dragons have been buffed, but they don't really matter. But let's have a look at this replay. Look at that Vialt.
Yeah, he goes zooming straight after Zeri, and you can kind of see that Zeri's able to isolate DNK in a way that DNK can't kill her, so she's still mostly safe. And now I just need to see, the only real big downside with that Baron play is it meant that, yeah, Emperor is now only level 13 at this point. He could have been level 14, given something over to Celebrity or DO1. But it might not matter if they just pick.
They're going to pull the trigger once again. They segment the team off. They've caught Levi. Carti in the chamber as well. This is just going to be Baron and the Dragon. SE are miles ahead. How does GAM possibly come back?
Well, they're probably not gonna lose the Dragon if Zeri and Kiaya can get down there fast enough. Oh god, actually no, never mind. I didn't check the timer properly. It's 15 seconds. It's gonna be really hard for GAM to come back and take that if SBTC just make their move down.
Just want to point out we have a live Your Way reaction camera right now.
Okay, hold on. I need a
we have a live Your Way reaction in the bottom left corner. The Dragon has been started up. What can GAM do? Surely they can't just give a soul away. But I don't think they're going to have a choice. And there's the smart Hextech soul secured. Kiaya going into the backline. Levi trying to follow it in, but he just can't get the damage done. They do manage to take out Celebrity though. This could be something as another member falls. The Ornn taken down. Dia1 going as well. Style is spooled up and chasing onto DNK. The Hextech soul is secured, but the souls of SE have been claimed by GAM.
Alright, so the SBTC did have to take that fight without the Celebrity ultimate, without Palette ultimate, pretty much without any ultimates. So that's the big reason why they lost. Also, they weren't set up for it. They were focusing on the Dragon. It means the Baron's gone, so that's a bit of a big fumble. You probably would have just been actually better off giving that Dragon up, resetting for a better Baron, and it's just you're stuck in this absolute mess with no ultimates. The Zarya Chain Lightning is just bouncing everywhere on top of everyone, and they couldn't fight back at all. So no Baron, but you have the Hextech Soul, so fights should be okay. GAM has a gold lead now. It's not enough to overcome the Hextech Soul, but I'm always concerned. I'm always worried. I'm always worried about GAM with gold lead, even if it's only okay.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit tricky now to call this one, as you said, You can't ever count GAM out, but it is such a massive advantage having this Hextech Soul. We'd love to see a negative 3,000 Baron power play, but Marby, where do we sit in this one as the Ornn items begin to come in?
Oh, it's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. Actually, Emperor going for the Sunfire game, so still wants to do some damage. Just to get that going. Sunfire Aegis, sorry. Boomerway's taken hold. So wants to be a bit more of his own personal threat in this fight rather than just providing that slow field from the Frostfire Gauntlet. So, interesting. But where are we going? I think we've got Baron coming eventually. It's a while away. That timer is an absolute troll because it's counting down how long SBTC has the Baron. They don't have the Baron. They got wiped.
That is a little bit troll, but it's okay, as SE are now sieging up on the mid lane. GAM not in actually any position to answer this.
Yeah, GAM are just trying to play out their composition advantage, which is these globals, and just you saw the way that it was Nocturne.
Can they slam the trap shut?
Yeah, I don't think so. They don't. I mean, they can always engage if they have vision, but they're going into complete darkness right now, SBTC. So there's no angle for Levi to get in. And now it's a matter of it's just playing bait games across the way. You can't continue to push down mid lane because SBTC could catch you. So you're gonna have to try and pull yourself off to a side lane and try not to get caught. Maybe try and make SBTC to respond to you, and then catch them on their rotation. It's just a little bit of back and forth while we wait for the objectives. A bit of mind games. GAM should be able to take this because they're in first position.
Yeah, SE don't die for this inner tower. Yeah, they're not going to. Good. They're just going to move over, clear up the wave. We haven't had the scoreboard in a little while. I just want to check in with how this Civ is. I don't thank you guys. Listen to me. Coming along. It is 3 items versus 3 items in the ADC department, but of course one of them has an Ornn on the team, and very importantly, both of them have a stopwatch.
Celebrity will be doing out a little bit more damage because the Infinity Edge completion, but Style needs that LDR to just have any hope to deal with this front line of Emperor and DNK. So understandable there. Just they're gonna have to try and make through, and these ricochets with these Hextech Souls again just gonna make Celebrity so much more threatening with just the amount of AoE damage that she can put out. Now Weaver's Wall to try and get the inhibitor.
Yeah, I don't know
Great.
if it's going to work out immediately. Cardi is able to clear waves very, very quickly. Ooh, Levi takes a lot of damage before he actually pulls the trigger, but they do go in. Kiaya backing them up, of course. Can they get anything done? Style is spooled up. Style is firing. Style is flashing forward. This Zeri is outputting so much damage, but it's a 1-for-1 at the moment. Levi incredibly low. Enpa doing everything he can in the backside, but it's still Zeri, the main character. Only picks up 1. SE are living. Yuumi able to put in so much health back into their carries. And SE come out even.
EO1 was able to get a huge 3-man knockup, but Zeri just managed to do Zeri things instead, and it comes out a very even trade, 2 for 2. But now that's just gonna stall us out. Means we're gonna get the repeat at this next fight, and it's good work from Dia this entire fight. Just chunk out Levi at the start. The stopwatch keeps him going alive, and Emperor, of course, so much CC. Yeah, he could have won them the fight, except Zeri. Zeri was not involved. So
to be fair, though, I think if Dia 1 doesn't hit that knockback and get that chunk, I think they all die. I think Dia 1 was just the MVP of that fight.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Just Dia 1, yeah, he played that fight absolutely insane, but Zeri did Zeri things. And going straight in towards this Guardian Angel as well, so Zeri is just going to keep opening herself up to do these Zeri things. Both objectives now on the map.
There's a big thing here. There is actually a big thing as we come on to Elder Drake. Siva had to stopwatch. Zeri did not. Right. There is a stopwatch advantage in these massive ADC big carry positions. That could be huge in this fight. Style, they will be the target. There's the black shield keeping him alive for now. Still has that stopwatch, but he has to press it. He does it. He goes down. Levi falling as well, and SE have already picked up 2 kills. In the front line, Cardi just gets absolutely roasty toasted as SE are just going to run it down the mid lane. They're going to pick themselves up game 2, and all of a sudden, Marby, there's a series on our hands.
No one thought it was gonna happen. They didn't think, you didn't believe, but the chickens come out, and Ki is gonna do his absolute best, but there is no chance in hell he stalls this game and brings it back for GAM. It's a win for SBTC on the board, and that is something GAM was not
need
hoping for.
to get it together and work out the drafts. You have to respect SE now. They got a game. You can't let them have S+ tier champions in every single role. It's just not okay. As SE bring it level 1-1, and GAM have to find answers.
Time to actually pick up the tier list and go, what's actually good? Levi, you can't just be a Wukong one trick. The fact they've banned that out for you and your Nocturne has been very flat, that's a huge concern. Reach deep. Like, pull out the Karth. I don't even care if you go back to your ways of Karthus. You gotta just... This isn't working for you, mate. Try something else. Where's the Trundle? Where's the Poppy? Where's the... anything matter?
Yeah, and much like Style did not do in the last fight, we're going to go into a bit of a stasis. We'll be back in 5 minutes with more VCS action.
In the space between thought and wonder, memory cannot pull you under. In the moment between breath and dying. You're free, fearless. You're flying. It's a new age, gotta make it up as you go. It's all the rage, gotta take it all in tow. You can't be living by the shreds or what you think you're owed. Sage advice, a century overload. Whatever the pressure, however your pleasure holds you captive to the treasure. No matter how the earth reverberates, you're dancing with the greats, with the fools and their fates. For time it never waits. Fire dance the flame alive. It's a game of and remember there's a why. You should always question the answer. Are you ready for your life to be laid bare? And are you sure about the proof by which you swear? It's all the same, life's a game for a name untarnished by someone else's fear. Whatever they offer, however your wishes beckon, harder than you reckon. The fire doesn't dance if their dictates, and now you're dancing with the greats. Let the fools have their fates, for time it never waits. Fire dance the flame alive. It's a game of all of life. And remember there's a why. You should always question the answer.
Hello and welcome back. Of course, it's still the VCS and it's still the playoffs. And surprisingly, it is not a 2-0. I think what most people have expected, a clean sweep by GAM, has not come true. And we actually do see SBTC Esports getting their first win of the series, potentially one of many. And Yulwei, do explain what happened.
So, not a whole lot, to be honest, in the early game, which was a huge problem for GAM because their composition was not designed to just don't do anything and scale. Because SPTC's composition was literally the quintessential we do nothing, wait for late game and win because we picked late game champions. And later on, it got a lot more scrappy, but I think the core issue of GAM in this game was really that they couldn't find any early kills, or even I think they started the game with 2 kills on the top side, with B investing some time over there, B getting both of those kills, but then they lost both of the early objectives, which is really detrimental if you play this kind of early mid-game composition into the hyper-scaling late-game composition. And so SPTC grouped at Dragon at 24 minutes, got a soul, got the Baron, and yeah, the game was kind of over from that point. So we need to see more action from GAM if they actually want to continue playing these kind of early game focused, playmaking focused drafts.
And actually, one player that we didn't really see anything from this game was Kati. Felt like he was not able to impact the game in any way on this Morgana pick. So, Tim, anyway, do you think this might change?
Hopefully it does. I mean, we definitely know that Kati is one of the best players the VCS ever had, and I think he needs to show up. And I think good step in that direction would be don't pick Morgana again. Give him something that he can do, actually something on where he can maybe win lane or carry later team fights, where he isn't just a support looking in. And I think overall, I think that's the story of this series so far is whoever is making draft decisions at GAM needs to be bound and gagged and put in the corner, and then you have to go back to what worked for you during regular season and just go to more normal drafts, because whatever the hell they were doing, I don't understand. Because the first draft already was questionable, but I feel like a few of the bright spots, for example, were the Elyssa, were the Aatrox. And then you go into second ban rotation, both of them get taken out because you decide for yourself to get a Morgana once again. So I really don't know what's going on at GAM.
Well, you'll wait, then I'll throw it over to you. What do you would wish GAM to draft for in this next game?
I just want to see a complete disregard for their strategy. Just go back to meta drafts. Why are we giving up Sivir Yuumi Vi 2 times in a row? Okay, it worked in game 1, but there's no need to do this, and this is really dangerous for the rest of VCS. But even if you look ahead to Worlds, once again, I really don't like to see GAM deprioritizing the meta drafts, because if you do this against an LPL team and against an LEC team, against an LCK team, whatever, even against an LCS team most likely, you're going to get stomped if you give them all the power picks. And even SGB, I think in the current form, if you just give over Sivir, Yuumi and Vi in first rotation, you really shouldn't do that. So I want to see a complete overhaul of the draft. Just go back to the drawing board and start anew. Come in with I want to see a meta jungler, no Nocturne anymore, a decent support pick, and then we should be fine for GAM. I think they're still the heavy favorites here.
Yeah, definitely still the heavy favorites. However, SBTC Esports was able to get one game now, of course, tying the series 1-1. And as we head into the next draft, of course, we might see an adaptation by GAM. Both of our analysts hope for this adaptation. However, the bans so far stay the same.
That's not a good sign. I'm scared. Please hold me. Oh no, not the salty run back once again. I can't take a third one.
I mean, SBTC
you could
was
actually adapt some of that, right? You could give up the Sivir and go Zeri Yuumi this time to take away the Yuumi if you wanted to.
Honestly, you could also. I'm down for them to give Sivir Yuumi if they take if they take the Vi and then an Elyssa on top. I think if you have Vi Elyssa, you're really strong. And this is really interesting because now we see big draft adaptations from SBTC. They don't really want to play Yuumi into Vi. That's something that most people don't really favor because it's really easy for Vi to lock down Yuumi whenever she's moving out in the team fight, and instead you now have a Azir and you have the flex with Sejuani in the jungle and in the top lane, because we've seen that in LPL quite a few times where she's now actually also being played in the jungle.
Yeah, and DNK was one of the few VCS players who actually played a game of Sejuani jungle. End of last week, they won that game against Team Secret. So yeah, I think this is probably Sejuani jungle here. So we already have a super strong late game team fighting comp set up by SPTC with Sivir Azir, one of DR1's best control mages as well, and then Sejuani providing late game engage or even disengage, honestly. So once again, I'm kind of seeing the building blocks of SPTC late game focus and GAM a little bit more playmaking in early game / mid game. Yuumi Ben I like a lot. Even though you said it's kind of hard to play against Vi, it's still risky. So just taking it away from Palette, who's also a veteran Yuumi player, makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and on the other hand, I think we wanted to have a really carry champion for Kati, right? And I think it doesn't get more carry than the Akali. I think it is going to be the Akali into Azir. It's a preferred matchup of a decent amount of mid laners where, yes, the Azir will dominate you in the first few levels, but once you have level 6, you always have the threat of all-inning the Azir, and you can, from that point on, play the lane very aggressively.
We round out the second half of the picks and bans, or the bans, I should say, with Nautilus and Alistar hitting the ban list, so two of the VCS staples. And now Rakan is another really good champ for B. He has had amazing performances, but opens up a little bit of a counter pick possibility. Rakan not the strongest laning support, so we might see something like Lulu from Palette, who's really, really strong on this Lulu. It's also great into the likes of Akali, so
We could also see Renata.
Renata. Tahm Kench is not my favorite, but with the positioning problems from Celebrity, maybe Tahm Kench also makes some sense. We have a very beefy composition now from SBTC, and they just go back to the on, so brace yourself for your way reaction cam, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Tahm Kench wouldn't be the best. Yes, it's still good to protect your AD carry, and especially against champions like Vi, you have a very easy time just norming up your AD carry once that Vi jumps in, and then suddenly Vi stands next to all the carries and just gets run down. I think that's a bit of the idea. Darius would be really surprising, especially since you don't really have any speed up champions, no Sivir, no Zillion, which are usually champions you really want to see with that. So I'm expecting more of Camille, for example, that has looked decently good. I think Kiaya definitely was one of the better players of GAM, but it ends up being the Jax. Basically, just the more split push option of the two between Camille and Jax.
Yeah, and he did accomplish something on the side lane, so I feel like it's a decent idea to just go back on even more side lane pressure, because SPDC was overgrouping so much in the mid game. If you have Jax, maybe you get in one more tower, though Camille, of course, is no slouch in terms of taking down the towers. I'm a little bit confused at these very assassin-heavy compositions here against Tahm Kench. Do you really want to play Jax into this composition? I don't think he can ever teamfight, so it's really all about the side lane setup. And to be fair, GAM is the best side laning team, so they really have to prove themselves in this game.
Honestly, I'm just glad we see a different look of GAM. There's no Morgana this time, it's an Akali instead. We once again see GAM going for a very strong top laner. Kiaya, I think, had a very good showing in the last game, and now with the Vi as well taking over, it's GAM with a new touch, with a touch of meta, and not just a very one-sided draft, to say it politely. But we do see both teams locking in their champions, and that of course leaves the question, Tim, which side would you prefer and who do you think will take this game 3?
I like SPTC's comp. It's clear what they want to do. They have 3 strong front laners, 2 strong back laners, but I think in this game, GAM just has too strong of a mid game. They're really dominating. You said they can't really team fight, but skirmishes in the mid game they easily can do with champions like the Vi, Rakan, Akali. So I'm scared that in the mid game, GAM is just going to run them over.
For me, it's SPTC.
Oh, so Yulwei for the first time actually predicting SPTC to take a game, but we'll of course give it over to Carrix and Mabi to find out how the game's gonna go.
A bold call from Yulwei. One game is all it takes to shake his faith. But I have to admit, SE has assembled themselves a pretty fantastic draft.
Flip flop, the flip flop, the flippy, the flip floppy. Don't
Hey,
stop the
if you
rocket.
look at the bottom left of your screen, you will be able to follow Yulwei as he goes through the trials and tribulations of this game. And he's just putting in chat, please, I need to pee, turn it off.
SPTC, absolutely. This time around, their draft, pretty much the same as last time. Group up and smash those team fights front to back. That's exactly what they want to do. And with Palette being on basically peel duty for these 2 huge backline carries, I think they will manage to survive they managed to make do against all this dive from GAM. It's a lot. but I think they've got enough peel between the Tahm Kench and the Sejuani to really get it done.
Well, we have a bit of a clash in the bottom side as flashes are being blown. B is being hunted. Can they
So
clip
that-
his wings? They can.
Yeah, and that's looking just as good as that first game. Longsword start going and taking it directly into the Zeri and just going for that kill. This time around it's on to B, so it's not quite as juicy a target because you don't get to deny much from the Zeri, but first blood onto your Sivir, absolutely what they want. It's at level 1 this time, so it's just gonna... Yeah, it's just walk straight into a Tahm Kench, and that early slow is huge. And I guess B had already leveled up his Q, so no escape.
That's a
of
real
any kind.
player.
Yeah. Bad, unlucky. Don't walk into a Tahm Kench when you don't have any dashes.
Yeah, you absolutely don't. That's not what you want at all. Regardless, they are able to recover. It doesn't matter yet. Because obviously they can't really go and bank that gold, as Carty getting a lovely little trade onto DR1 there. And Tim said that Carty needs to get involved in this series, and Akali's a damn good champion to do that on.
Good start. It can definitely do that. It's brought enough pressure for Levi to come in and harass DNK. He's not going to succeed on this blue buff steal, but with all this pressure from his solo lanes, feels super confident to try and make DNK's life a miserable hell. And DNK's going to return the favor onto Cardi.
You have no idea what I'm seeing on Marby's camera right now.
I have a cat.
You do.
Being annoying.
As DNK is going to cross the map, go down, pick himself up a crab on the bottom side. Make sure that GAM's bot lane feels the pressure as we continue this one.
Yeah. Regained my train of thought. Yeah, just nice passive laning, coming out fine. Go away, pussycat. I'm sorry.
You okay, but look, let's get back into it. It's playoffs, guys. Come on. We can do this. As what do you think of this Jax pick for Kiaya? A bit of a left field one. This is really... Obviously, the Jax has been played a lot this split, but mostly as a counter to the Gwen.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually expecting the Gwen more so than the Jax, but definitely wants to try and keep up that lane early pressure, try and have that advantage. I don't know. It's fills the role very similar to what a Camille does, but it's a bit more, I guess, I don't know. I don't know why you'd pick it over the Camille in general, but this is huge from Paulette.
Yeah, Paulette's landed the knockup. B is able to battle dance out, but uses so much of his... Loses, I should say. So much of his health, and guess who's here? It's the Sejuani. There's a control ward, but is 2 seconds of warning really going to do anything? As there's a huge knockup. They try and turn something around. Paulette will go low, but Cash is in the grey hell. DR1 here as well to confirm the kill on Style. And SE are here to play.
Two big beefy tanks makes the dive just as easy as they used to be. And that is a nice cleanup on the bot side from GAM. They cannot finish. they are getting absolutely crushed by this bot side. And now the Sivir is in a fantastic position to just be that big damage threat that carries the game like in game 2. DK's gonna get a little bit of gonna lose a few chickens to Cardi, but that's fine. He's done his job. It's right here. It's another great use of the Abyssal Dive from Paulette. Cuts off B and forces Style down deeper into the lane, so he is trapped into this redive with DL1. They can only use a dragon, but because reset premise, but again, 2 kills, you're happy with it.
You absolutely are. And I really want to give credit to Paulette. Has landed 2 Abyssal Dives onto B. That's a very hard skill to hit. It's got so much telegraphing. Nearly 3. He is a monster on this Tahm Kench. He has been traditionally. He's been one of our best support Tahm Kench players, and you can see how confident he is.
Yeah, and Paulette has been pretty much one of the best supports this split. We kind of were a little bit down on him because he was never able to properly convert them into great wins on the back half, and we weren't really going to talk him up because his opposite number is B, who has been absolutely smurfing it since he came back from with his recovery. So we kind of downplayed him. We were kind of downplaying him a little bit, but absolutely had a great split, a return to form after a few splits off since his his Fongvu Buffalo days. And yeah, I'm glad to see the old dogs learning newish tricks with the Tom Kench and being able to stand up to the young guns.
Yeah, playing with fire a little bit there. Does get DNK to cancel his back, buying a few seconds of time as Levi on the Vi, having a mosey down to the bot side. Could come from a very sneaky angle. Has completely dodged the vision. Style going very early. But under the tower they go. There's the Vi ultimate assault and battery. They need to kill Celebrity, though they're not going to. Levi falls. It's a disaster in the bot lane as Style is having to flash away. Dia1 is here to lock B in. And oh no, GAM are falling apart.
Absolute travesty of a dive. Celebrity walking away on minuscule health, and then Levi just not able to get it done, despite what looks like a way to outplay Paulette. They caught him before level 5. Before level 6, but they couldn't get it done. They couldn't get anything done. And on the top side, this counter pick is down in CS, so that's not going well. It is a Jax. It'll continue to ramp up over the game, but how does this fail so badly? I guess the knock-up is timed really badly with this grand entrance, so it's layered on top of each other and doesn't get the full effect. And the flash from Levi gets him out, and he could have survived, but he turned around hoping to get Celebrity again, but there wasn't enough damage. Position behind the turret meant Style couldn't actually hit Celebrity with his auto attacks, and a comedy of errors.
And it's just not the likely target for who is making mistakes. B is just not who we expect to make these silly, unforced errors. He's been such a solid rock for this team. But like, come on. Yeah, like, come on, you have to be able to see that Levi's altered. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's just a weird decision. Just poor communication between the two. Maybe just, I guess they're not used to this fight. I believe this is GAM's first game on it. Sorry, it's their second game on it, so maybe just not quite used to it. Predicted that it would be a knock-up into another one, but just slight mistiming, I guess. And now the spot lane is in quite a situation. They're gonna bring a teleport in. Okay, it's B with Spellbook. It's not quite the big committal of resources, but it's still just Celebrity's gonna be able to keep chipping away at this tower, keep building that lead, getting very close to that Kraken Slayer already.
Yeah, he absolutely is. And we saw Celebrity last game was able to have such a huge impact on this champion. He's now 3-0. I mean, if it wasn't GAM on the other side, you'd almost just be saying this is over.
Yeah, it looked pretty damn close. 3-0-1, just on the Siva. Dia1 also managed to get a one for himself, and we're just sort of looking at these angles, and you might almost have to say we're gonna have to sacrifice the spot lane, get Levi into another lane, help Cardi and Jat or Kiaya, try and get these solo laners get to a point where they can just absolutely mince Celebrity if they get on top of him. It's a bit hard because Paulette, of course, being this Tom Kench, can deny a single man's attempt to assassinate, but you're just losing so much. It's gonna take this roam from Kiaya to try and do anything.
Yeah, GAM's going to start up this dragon. SE's going to let them. So this will be GAM picking up these 2 early dragons. That could potentially pay off in the long run. But SE, I don't feel like they're in any rush. They've already gotten themselves a very nice lead in the early game. They have the Rift Herald in DNK's pocket, so they're kind of just being chillin'.
Yeah, they just get to mosey on to lane, keep farming. GAM's gonna commit everything to just make sure they can lock down that dragon with the big roam from Kiaya, and he's already not winning this, and that feels even worse as he sacrifices a tower plate, sacrifices some more farm to the Enpa, and Orn's just gonna, Orn's just gonna slowly level up, build those items. He doesn't have to go anywhere if he doesn't want to, if he's not put under pressure. So it's all good. And Palette's just king. He feels no threat right now. Just walking his way into this jungle and it's not. It wasn't even really warded. He didn't actually have backup until quite late. But it's fine. They got the charge. They got the charge into the second tower. Celebrity is doing just fine, and now they're just going to rotate him into the top side and try and do the same thing.
Yeah, and I feel like GAM is getting really punished for those first two games where they seemed cocky in the drafts that they gave SE. I kind of read it as, I think they're just trying to break them mentally. But it didn't happen. SE was able to hold their nerve after that game 1 loss, came back, won game 2, and so far they're looking great in game 3, but Enpa's going to have to look absolutely incredible, and he doesn't, as he goes down to Kiaya.
Yeah, did what he can, but there's only so much you can do to counterplay the cease and desist, which is not that. But couldn't actually find the interrupt. It's completely blind onto me. Just kind of throwing it out there, and all in all, that's still a huge committal to just get a single kill top.
Cardi misses the E. Without the E, you can't do this. I feel like using that second ult charge forward was a really big mistake by Carti. Now he gets gobbled up by Palette. He has a little bit of mobility, but the soldiers hunt him down. GAM players just making mechanical mistakes.
Just mechanical mistakes, poor decision making. This is start of split GAM. This is GAM that we saw in week 1 and 2. This just does not feel right. I have no idea why they're just been a huge collapse from our top teams in playoffs. It looks like Secret yesterday having an absolute shocker of a performance, but that was at least somewhat expected.
We expected SGB to challenge them.
Oh yeah, we expected
looking for a solo kill onto Celebrity. He gets damn close before DNK can stop him. Arctic Assault will do the job for now, but Kiaya is looking scary.
Yeah, the Divine Thunder is complete, and he can absolutely crank out damage if he gets
Pippin's having a good night, hey.
He's having a. He was so good in the first 2 games.
He was.
He was so good. Then I moved to fix the fire, and now he's doing this.
Oh no!
You gotta fix Kiaya.
Palette once again hitting that abyssal dive, so SE will be able to move in and save themselves a tower.
Yeah, okay. Doesn't quite have the backup. No damage behind him. Just DNK. We'll clean out that wave. I'm a bit interested in DNK's. I'm interested that DNK has gone for that fleet footwork. It is now. A lot of the ones I've been seeing, Tarzan and the LPL, have foregone that little extra health in their clear to just get that later game Aftershock in and make sure they're a little bit tankier in these later fights. But DNK wants to keep this clear up fast, keep his clear kind of healthy. But it's got them a pretty healthy, good early game so far, so can't fault it.
No, you absolutely can't. As you said, Levi will finally find something for GAM on the top side as they get that second Herald. But I mean, look, the problem here is obvious. Celebrity's half an item ahead of Style.
Yeah, he's 3-0 and up 20 CS, plus some tower plates. Yeah, he's just really far ahead. He's even got those completed boots. So yeah, Zari's gonna probably finish off those Oak Briefs and then be behind a whole Phantom Dancer. That's my prediction when the next backs come through. And
yeah, I have to agree. As Herald summoned up.
Okay,
this is smart. This will get them soul point. This is GAM's win condition.
Yeah.
They have to burst the dragon though, because that Herald gets absolutely minced.
Yeah, that's too much of a committal to the mid lane from SPTC, I think. If they give this up, it's not great. DNK kind of has to go in for the steal, but
Definitely
Can't
can.
find a
Could get
spot
over
in
the
the
wall.
pit.
Doesn't
They're not
actually
spotting
do
it.
it in time. They don't pull the trigger. SBTC is making the call, and I don't necessarily think it's wrong, that they can find a better fight in 5 minutes than they could right there. It's not Soul. They can win the fight in 5 minutes. Style, that was a shocker. Flashing away. Why did he do that?
Has the flash, but yeah, that's just really bad position. And
Carty as well caught out. Calm, just what are you doing? Calm down.
And now with the Sundisk, they can just keep up the siege as long as possible. They throw out the ultimate from DNK. That doesn't go well, but here's the attempt.
Style wants this. Deer 1 can't land the shuffle. Brings the Vi real deep, but it's a 1-for-1, which kind of suits GAM in the situation.
Yeah, that worked out a lot better for GAM than it really should have. Style will be safe over the wall. They still have the Sundisk. They still have all the time in the world to finish off this siege. And it should be nice and easy. Finish it off. Go away. God, stop knocking things.
But a little bit more biffo in the mid lane as Deer 1 is putting out so much damage on this Azir, while Carty has honestly been largely ineffective. But the man on your screen looks like he will be the big hope for GAM as Kiaya back to his side laning ways as he picks himself up an inner tower. This Yax is getting pretty strong.
Yeah, just committing to the side lane push, going to find a nice amount of gold in this. Jax has to be the big win condition, has to be able to remove Celebrity from a fight. And this fight was a bit of a kerfuffle, but it's basically the fact that SBTC just could not land an ult to save their life that ended up saving the whole play for them. And yeah, it delayed the play long enough that they traded the 2 towers in the mid lane essentially for towers bot. And it's still a good gold advantage for SBTC, but there's still the threat of the dragons. There's still this Jax that's just smashing through towers on the sides. Not quite going as cleanly as SBTC was hoping.
No, it hasn't. But that said, they are still extremely strong as they have this Azir scaling up. Deer 1 is 3-0 on his way to a Rabadon's by the looks of it, going full damage in this game. I say that, he does have a crown, but he's going to do a lot of damage is the point as I wanted to get to.
Yeah, it seems to me that, I mean, we kind of saw a little glimpse of it there, that the playstyle he's going for is not the backline guy. He wants to get the Shroomer Shuffle in. He wants to be poking with his Q, doing as much damage as he can. Kind of contradicts the crown and the conquer build, but I mean, Deer does what Deer wants, I suppose, even if it's completely nonsensical. So Deer's just doing it. He's fine as long as he can get this chip damage down onto Levi, Cardi, and Style. He's more than happy. Style has foregone the healing of the Mortal Shield by the safety there for a bit more damage to try and cut through and
Yeah,
for
I think he needs to.
Colette.
I think it needs to as well. He needs to really shred through some tanks.
And there's a lot of tanks, but it's always just you're made of paper. That's why it's not a very common choice. So
we'll have to see how it works out.
No good point click CC, so might be just fine if he plays it correctly.
It's true. It's very true. Oh, but look at this. The ultimates are coming in, but the power of that Zeri E gets him so much distance, but will it be enough as Celebrity moving forward? Zeri on and the crit will take him down. The big knock up now from B as Cardi has it all to do, but gets scooped by the Azir, can't re-enter the fight, and surely SE will come out on top of this one. Kiaya has 4 men bearing down on him and falls. SE pull the trigger and they'll get a Baron as their reward.
Celebrity, the absolute Chad, going mental forward. I believe he flashed in to pick that up. And that Baron will be their reward. They're gonna check B and Levi. Colette's gonna find him, so there should not be a chance. Flash not available. I don't think he can get in. I don't think Vault Break is short enough cooldown.
I don't think so. He might go for it. It is up. Will they block it? Oh no! It's stolen by B!
Why do I think that was Bullet? I don't know. It's bad. It's a Baron. And they're gonna be able to.
It was a
come
spellbook
down.
smite!
Yeah, absolute madness. Was it timed alongside Levi's? I don't know. Either way, they're gonna get the dragon and stop this. They're gonna stop the dragon snowball,
Let's have a
the
look
soul
at
at least.
this.
But all right, we're just gonna wait and see. Checking Levi not paying attention to B, and then no, just mistimed the burst.
B.
I brought it down to low enough for B to pick it up. And now there's an powered Cardi and potentially a Kiaya.
Yeah, Enpa doesn't quite land the ram. The rocket belt does get Cardi to safety, as even with that Baron buff, Cardi can't quite kill him under the tower.
No, and this gives GAM so much opportunity to get back into this. Celebrity can't push. SBTC can't push their advantage. These towers are not going to, and that's just going to end up being gold coming back for the side of GAM. No, it's going to be so long for another objective fight that SBTC can really set up for. Just can't wait to see.
The thing that really saves SE here is that Kiaya did not get that Baron buff. He didn't. If he had it, I think it would be a serious problem. But the fact that it's only on Carti and Style does mean that its effectiveness as a pushing tool is incredibly limited. So SE throwing in a lovely Sejuani ult into the Azir scoop, pick up 2 kills out of nowhere. They don't care about a steal.
Just falls short on that E. Can't get Style, but they still have the Sundisk. They can try and set it up to take down this inhibitor. And this wingback is so good for them. Oh, this is going to be their challenge. They're going to be able to break this open. Kiaya is here looking for a flank angle, but so hard. The Devourer is still up. Ornhorn available, so they might be able to try and lock it down. No, they're just going to hold it. Kiaya backs off completely. Does not want to risk it being caught out and attacked in an attempted pincer. And it's an inhibitor broken against the Baron. And it's just beautiful setup. Catches onto Levi, and then the sweep is beautiful, picking up B alongside it. And that's 2 kills that GAM should not, that SBTC almost should not have gotten. But they do, and it rewards them an inhibitor.
It does, and I mean, this is a game where GAM has been completely stymied, rather. I know how to talk. They've only got 2 kills. In all of this time, the only players that picked up a kill is Kiaya and Levi. Carti has been woefully ineffective on this Akali. He's gotten almost nothing done. Style has been so hard focused on the Zeri. He's been unable to impact the fights. And frankly, B, other than that Baron steal, which is, of course was very pog, very epic, this might be the worst game of his career.
It's up there. It's up there. We have a few more of this split to choose from, but it's
when he wasn't deathly ill.
Yeah, I mean,
he was very ill the first 2 weeks. I'm going to write those ones off.
We have the stat that, you know, if you remove the games he lost, he was undefeated.
But GAM are going to collapse. There's a teleport coming in. The Sejuani ult used just on Levi. He hasn't entered the fight yet. Enpa going very low. This could be GAM coming back into it as they've got a spooled up Zeri. They're moving forward. Style is charging on through them. The Zir has fallen. Order's fallen. Kenshin Simon will join them. Sejuani sent to the depths. And GAM fight back and pick up an ace.
Absolutely get thrown completely off by this flame from Levi, and then B, we started to talk smack, and he came up huge with a massive quickness. This might be enough. They're just going to try and run it down this bot lane. They have a wave. They can tank it up for a while with Levi. There's 10 seconds left. They can do it.
They're trying for it. And I think it's a good idea, as in they go. One Nexus tower under siege. They have 5 seconds until Enpa and DNK respawn. A huge knockup coming out of Palette. The Nexus is under siege. Can they do it? Can SE hold? Or will GAM be going up to 2? It will be a hold as SE get themselves an ace.
They don't have have to kill an inhibitor. They can just run it up. They've got super minions doing the job for
They
them.
win!
I don't know. There's a long time. 20 seconds on B, on style. It's a long
They've already
walk.
got the super minions there.
It's a long
Surely.
walk. Surely. Where's the silver ultimate?
It's
almost coming
55
up.
seconds on B. He might be able to buy a second. They don't have minions.
They don't have a wave.
They don't have a wave. That's going to
But
cost
they
them a
have
couple
tanks.
of seconds. They have a tank, but the backdoor protection's on. This will keep the towers a little bit tankier as now Style respawns. SE, I don't think they can commit to this. A big knockup comes out of B. Buying a lot of time. The flash away from Style is absolutely huge. Paulette will fall down. The tower's under siege, but the tower has not fallen, Marby. The tower is alive, Marbinogi. And the SE is not as they get cleaned off the map. It's an ace. It's an ace. It's an ace. We're all winning at poker today, baby. As the
GAM has the teleport.
and GAM have the full house. They'll go in and move up to 2-1.
This should not be a calm victory, but the teleport timies were against SPTC and they couldn't finish it off. Absolute nail-biter end there. Could have gone either way, but absolute mental. Worse than my cat, who is having a sprint.
Show. Shit.
Woo!
Show.
Um,
We're going straight to break. There's nothing to say. Get us the hell out of here, Spoods.
In the space between thought and wonder, memory cannot pull you under. In the moment between breath and dying, you're free, fearless, you're flying. It's a new age, gotta make it up as you go. It's all the rage, gotta take it all in tow. You can't be living by the shreds of what you think you're owed. Sage advice, a century overload.
this. Come and run again. You want a dose of this? Right now it's KD8. I'm a goddess with a blaze. 소리처럼 내 이름 잊지 못하게. Loud, 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 loud. I could take you to the top. 절대 멈추지 못해. 내가 끝내주는 bad gal, gal, gal. And when I start to talk like that, oh, you know how to react. I'm a picture perfect face with the wild in my veins. You can hear it in my growl, 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 growl. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. 다 할 수 없는 rebel. 나와 되길 원한 늘 확신해. We got it all in our hands now. So can you handle what we're all about? We're so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. You ready for this?
Let's go.
See, 언제든지 내 모습 매직 단 한 번에 내가 잡아 절대 기죽지 않지. 펴펴 네가 뭘 알아. 견딜 수 없어 원해도 원하는 게 얼굴에 보여. I'm troubling you running it. I'm so cold. When I move that way, you gon' be so blown. I'm the realest in the game. Said I'm on fire with the blade. You're about to hear my name, ringing in your head like whoa. So keep your eyes on me now. 무엇을 보든 좋아할 거야. We so tough. Let's get it, show you out. Can you feel the rush now? Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. 난 멈추지 않아. We go hard. We pop stars. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. They could try, but we gonna wear the crown. You could go another round, 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 round. Wish you luck, but you're not bringing us down. We go hard, till we get it, we go hard. We so in it, we pop stars. Only winning, winning now. Ain't nobody bringing us down, 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 down. The night beckons while you dream. A life never lives in peace. As you stand upon the edge, woven by a single thread, and
Hello and welcome back to the VCS 2022 Summer Playoffs, where we answer questions such as why GAM bad or why GAM win, because this was definitely a series. Tim, let's start with a draft and the game until those last couple of minutes. How did we get here?
I mean, I think the GAM draft was better, and I think that showed in the game they did actually stand a chance. But I think what really the question should be not why GAM bad, but why GAM bot lane really bad. Because Thailand B level 1 got run down for the, I don't know how many time. I think all 3 games they were actually run down level 2, level 1. Bot lane is getting absolutely stomped by Celebrity, and Palette on this Tam Kent was also smurfing. So I think that's a good point to start, where GAM really lost the game, or should have lost the game. Then good engages, good groups, and good fights for SPTC followed, and then, disaster struck.
Yeah, I mean, especially B had a fantastic game, had a few fantastic engages, and that showed, for example, in those last couple minutes. And we have a replay. Yulwei, please guide us through this madness.
Yeah, honestly, I don't actually know what's going to happen, so I'm just as excited as you are to watch this back, because this is the turning point of the game, right? GAM finds an engage. They're very far behind at this point, and somehow they kill Celebrity, who's 6-0 coming into this fight. So we see Anper gets chunked out, and his ultimate is kind of ill-guided, because it doesn't really give his team the space you usually want from your on. And I think Celebrity pressing his stopwatch here is pretty bad, because he still had flash. He could have repositioned further away and then used all his auto attacks. You have to remember, he's 6-0. He should be the main carry, but now his whole team is dead already. And this all happened so insanely quickly. Remember, this is half speed. So everyone just vanished in an instant from such a huge goal deficit. So it's once again an instance of just this goes to show that GAM can teamfight their way out of almost any situation. If we could speed this up a little bit more to actually just look at how they finished this game in the end, because I mean this was the first opportunity they had, right? They won this team fight in bot lane already, just walk it down, but it's very close. We were actually, when we watched this together on the analyst desk on the other channel, we were debating if they had enough time, and we are very split on our calls. And in the very last second, it looked like they were not quite gonna be able to do it, because at this point you can still say, oh, it's gonna be close, but it actually kind of looks like they can do it, right? It's 5v0, but then Palette spawns, he hits a super good W to delay everyone, and then that's probably the 1 second they needed more to get the Nexus in this instance, and now everyone just spawns and it's over for them, and you think the game is over, but Tim, what happens next is just as absurd, no?
I mean, the crazy thing is that I think SPTC had a good idea here by walking over. They don't have a TP though, so they don't have a way to quickly go there. And if you now look at the time, it's really close. And the difference between what GAM did and what SPTC did is GAM got a miracle fight. They somehow won a fight and they flipped it on ending. And the reason I like the call, even though it didn't work in the end, is they wouldn't have won the game otherwise, right? They should have lost every team fight. They got one miracle fight. They tried to put the game out. SPTC isn't forced. All they lost is a bot lane inhib. Yes, you don't have turrets. You can be backdoored, but that's something you can deal with. Just play slow, play the next team fight, win the game. But they're flipping the game here, and then a wonderful engage from B again and again. He's slowing down everybody. Also, Dia1 hits nothing with his ultimate, and yeah, it's just a complete wash from here. And then GAM just runs it down mid lane once again. One thing I want to say for the first team fight, by the way, is Dia1, DNK, and Celebrity, all 3 died with flash up. That's not great.
Yeah.
Some people would say that's reportable. And then, of course, Kiaya and Kati just walking it over, closing out the game. I think it is a crazy end, but I think the two really crazy things is, 1, GAM even won a team fight, and then 2, I think SPTC not respecting their response to come in and forcing something they had no need to force, because they should win team fights. In the end, GAM takes the game. I don't want to say undeserved, but yeah, kind of undeserved.
Yeah, it was also very surprising that GAM actually was able to close out this game, because for the longest time, obviously, it looked a lot like it would be the other way around. It looked like SBTC was actually going to go up 2-1. Now the situation completely different. It's 2-1 up for GAM. A little bit more, at least not game set wise, but at least from the standings, how we expected. But this is not the showing that we wanted GAM to have, especially looking at who their next opponents are going to be. But before we talk about that, of course, we'll head into the next draft. It is still the quarterfinals of our VCS 2022 Summer Playoffs, and of course still SE against GAM. And well, now 1 and 2, so GAM with match point. Tim, do you expect any changes in this upcoming draft?
I mean, it is already the first change in the draft as we go over to it. It is not the Draven ban, it is a Sivir ban for GAM, which means Celebrity for the first time in the series will not be on that champion. Now the big question becomes, do they want to go for the Zeri themselves, or do they actually want to go towards that banned Draven?
Yeah, and if we think about how the last 2 or 3 bot lanes even have gone, leaving the Draven open strikes me as insanely risky, because you've already been losing the 2v2. If you lose hard against Draven in 2v2, well, maybe he still ins his position, but he's gonna be 5-6k gold ahead, so it doesn't really matter. I think this is quite a risky approach for GAM. They are trusting their bot lane to play a little bit better, because so far that has definitely been the weak spot today. But yeah, let's see if SBTC is confident enough to go for the Draven. I think it's quite important for their whole playoffs run to be able to go with Draven here, because it also strikes fear into, even if they lose here, potentially their next opponent in Secret in the elimination match on Sunday, if they happen to lose this series, because then Secret has to consider Draven, not a champion Eddie plays. So I really want to see the Draven here from the side of SBTC.
Yeah, now the Vi has actually been first picked. It is definitely an impactful champion. More so on Levi than it was on DNK. DNK didn't look the greatest on it. I think the Sejuani was actually better for him, but still a highly contested pick. You still have Deseri on the other side, and now paired with that Sejuani, and it's actually gonna be Lucian Army. We talked about it actually in the green room, being played a lot right now in the LPL, and it's not what you would expect. It's not that lane stomping dude with electrocute that's gonna run you down. It's more so that you play for first strike, you play for the first item for the mid game, where Lucian really pops off and just takes over any team fight, and Vi is the perfect partner to make that happen.
In essence, it's still the same concept as Draven, though, especially looking at this kind of series so far, where SBTC should win the early game in the bot lane, and Lucian Army, yes, it's a little bit more geared towards mid lane and mid game and late game, but it still has the explosive chase down potential in the early game too. So if GAM's bot lane overstays again, maybe disrespect level 2 again, like they did in game 1, then the Lucian can certainly carry this game and snowball through the early laning phase into the mid game. So I would have liked to see the Draven a little bit more, but I think the Lucian is also an okay alternative, a little bit better against the Sejuani maybe, with his ability to reposition a little bit more easily, though Draven E is quite nice as well. But now we see some of the bans against Year 1 again. His Swain is open, and I feel like Swain into this comp could be quite nice as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a comp that wants to engage, and whenever Swain can just look at the engage and take it to the face, can ult through it, it's great. And also it's good for Nami, right? You want to kite back, and then you also have to re-engage with the Vi, of course, if you want to go for it. And now it's going to be Kati on that Rise. It's something that we see here and there. It's not the greatest pick. It definitely doesn't have a good solo queue win rate, but in competitive it still has its spots, just because you have a point and click CC and you have map mobility, so that can be something that can just dominate the game in competitive play.
I would have really liked to see a Cassiopeia here, the old school counter pick, just controlling, maybe even peeling a little bit for the Lucian, and then just, it's a low range comp, but yeah, now Lissandra doesn't really provide a lot more range, a little bit more threat range, I guess, but not enough damage. So all the X really in the celebrity basket when it comes to carrying and putting out the damage. The top lane could just be Renekton here. I actually am kind of surprised we haven't seen Renekton at all so far.
It's still banned all games by SE.
Yeah, I'm like that, yeah, that makes sense.
It is.
It's Kiai, it's the most played champion all time, so that actually makes a lot of sense.
And now it's actually going to be Akali blind pick on top lane, another AP damage threat and more dive. And now I'm interested to see what Kiaya actually wants to play into that Akali. And one thing we have to say is that Vi and Lissandra and Lissandra and Viari are usually two combos that you really want to play with that champion. We haven't seen it this series, but it's usually duos that really dominate the early and mid game. And so far, if I look at SBCC's comp, they are definitely the team that just wants to dominate mid game, something that previously usually was GAM's game plan. On the other hand, now with GAM, Zeri, Rice, Sejuani, and Ornn, you have the scaling team fighting comp, so it's basically swapped around what the teams want to do.
Yeah, that's a very good read. We swapped the identities of the teams, much more to mid-game focused for SBTC, and to me they have been a little bit more proactive in the early game generally, and this series as a whole, so it might fit them. Because last game they lost with a late game team fighting composition. First game they lost with a late game team fighting composition. So maybe changing up the style a bit, going for a bit more of the early game aggression, playmaking, this play style can help them get over the line.
In general, I'm just sad to see Kiaya on a tank this time. He, in my opinion, was the best player on GAM so far, but of course he might just be able to carry his team on Ornn as well. But now that we see both team compositions, of course the question to ask is, which team do you prefer and who you think is going to take this game? And Yulwei, I'll ask you first this time.
It's kind of hard to say. I really like the change from SPTC. I feel like the last game must suck though. Like losing the game in that fashion when you're so close to upsetting the big favorite for the whole playoff series must really feel bad for them now. They had a little bit more time to reset. I'm gonna predict SPTC just for the sake of Game 5, but I'm not sure if I really believe it.
Honestly, I like SPTC's comp so much more. For the first time, I think I would also actually give it. I think it's actually the best draft so far.
Last time Yulwei predicted SBTC, this time it is actually Tim, and we'll find out whether we head to a Game 5 after this one. And of course, bringing you the action, it's Carrix and Marby. Take it away.
Whew, this is an interesting one, as finally we have diverged away from the same 10 champions that were played in the first 3 games. Marby, how are we feeling in this one?
Yeah, I appreciate GAM going for a much more simplistic, straightforward composition. It's front to back. It's rely on the big front line and then let Style do the big Zeri thing on the back line. I'm very interested to see though with the run of play if we can get the Lucian army to really live up to the potential that it always has promised and really try and smash this lane.
Yeah, I think it's very bold, but, you know, we were talking about, you know, some things that were happening in the LPL during our break. Lucian loses lane, but because he has first strike, no one cares, is the quote Tim used. What do you think about how that one plays out?
I think in this situation, Lucian is going to do a little bit better than maybe we intend to see in the LPL because he can, if he can find the angle, he can absolutely just menace this the melee support of B, and that kind of undoes a lot of the lose lane part of the Lucian army. We see a lot of the Lulus, the enchanters to come counter that make sure Nami's life in lane is a lot harder. But this time up against the Nautilus, well, you have to be a little bit more careful with your positioning. You can't go just absolutely hog wild trying to get those procs. You can absolutely try and farm them and be pretty comfortable getting.
This is an early play.
Damage like that.
Levi is skipping his blue buff and making his way to the bot lane. Oh, the fake land! Celebrity caught up and put down. First blood for the Zeri.
That's why you pick Nautilus, because he absolutely breaks the rules of the game with hooks like that. That was...
No, that hit. Celebrity flash straight. That's not Nautilus bull. That's fair.
To my eyes, that was a that line moved from here to here. That was I'm not a fan of that one. Cardi might be able to get caught out if he steps too far south. He feels safe because that's where Levi is, but DNK's closer. They're not even gonna force flash.
He's fine.
Okay.
He just walks away.
Apparently not. They have no damage. It's Lissandra early. It's Vi early. They apparently can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, Cardi just kind of read the play, understood what was going on, as we'll just farm it out. Tier 1 will get the early push, as expected in this matchup. Rise doesn't quite have the wave shredding power early on. As Levi, you're in an interesting position here, my friend, as he's getting it collapsed on by... What the hell did... Marmy, I'm confused.
Yeah. He felt really, really full of himself. He saw DNK walk off to the top side, but they had a ward down on that vision, and yeah, look, I don't know. I don't trust that. I don't trust the hooks. I don't trust Nautilus. He's a shifty fella.
I just don't understand what Levi was doing there. That's such a high risk, low reward play.
Yeah, again, he saw DNK hop into go to the top side, and they just didn't read that there was a ward on that. The wall was actually just on that small wall that leads down into river. But yeah, just wasn't aware of it. And
Scrap in the top lane as Enpa moving forward, gets the auto attack, needs one more. But a good flash from Kiaya will get him out of there.
So close, and now Levi's gonna
Levi on the way, has the
flash.
flash, but I don't think he actually has the damage to one-shot Enpa, particularly when that E is available, so he will just force him back.
So close.
But now it's Kiaya
with
Kiaya has TP. Enpa doesn't.
What?
Wait, he does. I can read. That's that. I thought he had purple flash.
Yeah, as you do. Yeah, no, Enpa's gonna find this crash. I was maybe expecting a second E to come out there, but not quite. Just gonna get some nice control of this top side. Empa feeling very happy with himself. And now, well, Lucian has definitely entered the lose lane part of the game, having been hooked in and absolutely smashed out by that early gank from Levi, which we like to see. We like to see an active Levi trying to make things happen on the map. We don't like to see him in a kill away in the Raptors, but at least he has given Style that first blood, and now the Zeri is in a good position, and maybe Style can carry the rest of the game, as we're gonna see a bit of a hover, just sitting in fog of war, not actually going to make a move, but these threats from Carti now that he's level 6, just shove the wave, sit in fog of war, don't let yourself be on vision as much as possible.
Yeah, it's pretty clever as GAM now starting up this first dragon. They want to add an objective to the board early on, along with their very slight gold lead. I don't think SE can do much about this one, particularly not with Cardi already there, ready to cover them off. So this will be the first dragon going over to GAM. Can DNK get this gank on the top side going? I think it's a level 6 Ornn. I really don't think he can.
Yeah, no, Empa was trying to really pull the wave so that Kiaya would have to step up, but now Kiaya is playing it, just playing it so instead he did not push the wave at all, really. So now he's in a little bit of danger, but
I don't even know if he is.
But it's still so much time wasted by DNK.
There, he doesn't quite get it right. There's the charge. He's got the ram coming, but it hits a whole lot of nothing. They need that last denting blow.
It's game 1 again. Where's the damage? Feels like there should be way more damage coming out, but there's...
It was a lot up front, but he just had that E, and then they couldn't get back in range to proc that Vi W passive.
Yeah, even maybe as well, just if they timed that a little bit better, waited for that ignite, maybe the grasp, proc, things like that, just, I don't know.
I mean, also, like, low-key, did he use the ult just to get another dash?
Possibly.
That's clever if he did it on purpose.
That's definitely something that... I don't know if it's a big enough of a dash to really make too much of a difference, but either way, it did stall the play. It was a decent way to stall it out, so... Now Levi's going to sit on the top side. It's not a huge loss for Empa. Empa is still completely fine. He's still...
It's a huge loss for SE, though. This
but it's a loss for DN. It's a big loss for DNK because he had to spend so much time there, and now to just get back into it has to go towards the bot side, clear out the cam seed left behind, and yeah, they GAM have that read, capitalize that, and just take control of top side.
This is not looking fantastic here for SE. There's DR1 just having a farm in the mid lane. He's not under any threat, of course, is Lissandra. So basically impossible to die.
Yeah,
Cardi just continuing to farm it out.
just keeping it slow. Cardi has started to reach the point where he's getting the first push, first roams, and now they have to pay a little bit more attention to these realm warps. Celebrity still trying to find his way towards that Gale Force where he can really start putting the hurt down onto the members of GAM if you can find these angles. Of course, not the easiest. And with the front line that you're up against, might not even amount to all that much, especially as items start to come in. Still a while away, of course, but Levi will almost definitely be picking up those, pick up the Warmogs as a second item and just be able to eat all the damage that Celebrity would want to chuck out and then walk away, heal it back up, be fine.
It's true. And one thing we'll have to keep an eye on this game is if Kiaya decides that he likes playing Ornn properly, if he will stay in the side lane. Honestly, with the team compositions that they've built up, he is encouraged to do so. So down in your bottom left corner, we might not see too much baby rage this game.
Maybe not. So what I want for Kiaya is to start grouping. You can start right about now. Just make your way to bot lane. Do it. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I have no ulterior motives outside of this game. This is the best course of action you could do, Kiaya. Do it. Group.
Anyway, let's have a look in at that bot lane, because obviously that early kill did go over to Zeri. Styles also maintained about a 10 CS lead. And with Levi coming down here, dropping the Rift Hold and showing himself, it's even more gold given over to a Zeri.
Yeah, it shouldn't be much more than just those few plates, because we have DNK in the area, but that's still gold. That's still a lot of power put onto the Zeri, and she's going to feel very happy just to progress that gold lead, get those items ahead, and then just sit behind her Sejuani and Ornn and feel very good about herself. It doesn't need to have the big explosive early game. She just gets a nice, simple lead, and she runs with it.
Feels pretty good. Zeri does a lot of things, in fact. As
running is the big one.
He's the main one, it's true. DR1, need to see him get involved on this Lissandra. So far, it's been very, very quiet. Hasn't really gotten any ults down. 15 seconds on this dragon, and it looks like SE are the ones that want it.
Yeah, Lissandra will come into her own in team fights and skirmishes in these corridors, but hasn't had the ability to really get the shove. Hasn't been able to push out and get the early roams in. Now, SPTC, they've had to sort of manage their waves a little bit, and this has given the opening for GAM. And yeah, Sal can just auto over walls really easy and check for DNK, so it's going to happen. Don't know what they aren't going to catch Levi this time, but he's still playing very, very far up.
He is. He's a big beefy boy. So
that ward bench survive. They're fools. Buffoons.
Well, SE will not be getting this dragon. I believe this one will be going over to GAM as they have pride of positioning. Excuse me.
Yeah.
As they will pick up this objective.
Just not willing to try and muscle their way in at all. They don't feel confident in the fights, and that's pretty fair. I mean, you're looking at a mythic compared to nothing on the rest of the maps, so should just be pretty simple for GAM. You feel confident in those fights, and we just need to see DNK try and make his way out and try and hit the lanes more. I feel like there should be a potential angle onto Cardi, perhaps, if Zeri and B push up at all, try and hit them. And then I feel like the opportunities for this fight to get in, they definitely exist. You have set up in your lanes to support you. But they're just
it feels so hard to play Zeri into Lissandra and Vi. That feels pretty cursed.
And this is why we normally see things like the Lulu and stuff coming out, where you just can pick up that Mikhail's and give it that second cleanse to really survive this onslaught of CC. But now Levi, he's here. He's playing the camp game. He knows that he has one job, and that is get Zeri fed. Zeri is gonna get fed.
Yeah, under the tower, they're trying to go, but a wave will dissuade them. So SE are managing to blunt this aggression.
Yeah, but tidal wave just to clear a wave. Just, I'm not going to have that for the next one. It does mean Levi's going to go away, and you don't really, so they're not going to commit to it. So in the end, it works out. But I feel they could have stuck around because right now, I guess there's not much going on. There's no real aggressive push from either team. Levi's just supporting his bot lane, trying to get that ahead. DNK is just kind of AFK at the moment, farming up what he can. He's put a little bit of deep vision in, but he's not pressing in, not trying to look for angles, not sitting on his lanes by any means. But Rift Herald is coming up, so maybe finally we're going to get the action we're looking for.
We might. As on the left side of this river, of the mid lane, I should say, we hover. Carty, very safe behind his crown. But it's been a slow one. Looks like it smells like a breaking point. Should come eventually. But it's not going to be around this second Herald, I don't think.
I think the SPTC are trying to stall out, perhaps just trying to maybe buy time for that tidal wave to come back, because that's a big ult missing. Here's an angle for Dia.
He could come in, throw that E over the wall. They know where he is, though, because that sweeper gives him away. GAM will just secure the objective. They blow the Ornhorn. They're going to move forward. They get the instant catch onto DNK. A flash forward now from Styles. He moves in onto Palette, cleanses the bubble. The Realm Warp brings in the rest of the boys, and it's a double kill now for Levi, immediately summoning the Herald, and GAM have found an angle to grow the lead.
Because Tier 1 decided to go walk about way too far, looking for an angle that looking for a perfect angle instead of taking a just good enough one. And that meant Rift Herald goes down uncontested because they're waiting. Carty's going to get his cleanse out. Can they pick him off? Looks like
Carty's in a lot of trouble, has to go gold. Can they find the last bit of damage? No, they cannot. And they'll lose Celebrity. They'll lose Empire as well. Dia 1 goes forward, finds the man that got away, but he's now on the wrong side of the tracks. And he might be the Queen of the Frost, but he's not the king of this town. As he's hunted down, Levi puts one into him. B trying to follow it up. They interrupt the claw. Oh, but look who it is. It's DNK from off the top right. Comes in off the turnbuckle and takes down the Zeri. What a scrap.
Good enough response from DNK, I guess, but you've still absolutely lost the fight. Ki teleported down and picked up a tower, and it's just absolutely... This is pretty much where I'd be pointing to lights out, except for the fact that GAM's had a pretty shocking experience this series. But we just see here, they put no pressure on the Rift Herald. Dia is nowhere to be seen as they just collapse onto the split, pick up 2 kills instantly, and then there's just the attempt, pretty much feels like a desperation pick, to just try and catch Carty, who, sure, he doesn't have a flash, but he still has that cleanse. There's still a whole team nearby, and they just can't get on top of him, and the stopwatch is the icing on the cake. So just shocking, really. They just play that about as badly as possible. Dia 1, he manages to sneak away a kill he had no right getting, but CC keeps him in a bad place for too long, and it's really just the fact that it's only like 12 minutes of the game that DNK is able to get back on the map in time to pick up another.
And then we come back out to another fight as Dia 1 once again caught out trying to make a play. But Style takes that kill, and this Zeri is only getting scarier.
Yeah, with a beautiful ult to just stop the rest of his team coming to help, and he's here to make sure this dragon gets secured. It will be, and now that's it. Guns just pick up their soul point, pick up another kill, and it's complete dominance. This is finally the gun we wanted to see. A little bit of what we kind of got in game 1, but this time they have just a nice, straightforward, simple draft. They're playing their draft out perfectly, trying not to rely too much on the mistakes of SBTC, though it's not like Dia isn't kind of helping.
I mean, that's
getting cleaned out. Now it's a nice ult move from Levi over the wall, no flash or anything, but yeah, he's just clearing wards out alone. no good buddy system. And of course, that great honor from Kiaya to separate the rest of the team. So no help available.
Yeah, Kiaya is in the side lane as well, sitting at level 11 at the moment, wanting to pick himself up some solo XP, though he has been grouping a lot. It has been to great effect.
It's
To be
mostly only
fair.
grouped around these objectives, which is
Yeah, it's been to
absolutely
good
fine.
effect.
That's what you want. That's what you want to do. It's a random grouping in the jungle doing not much, which is the annoying bit. But I have to say, finally, outside that one flub in the very early game, Levi finally having a game worthy of his stature. Absolutely go on man mode right now. 100% kill participation, 4 and 1. Yeah, just that small flub where he kind of got undone by a ward he didn't expect / a pullback from DNK, but he stepped up big for this final game. Well, potentially final game.
Potentially. We don't want to call it yet. We've had more ridiculous situations in this series alone. If you had asked anyone on Earth 5 minutes before last game ended who was going to win, they all would have gotten it wrong. Because that was quite the ridiculous situation. That said, this is definitely not over, as, again, Style is still able to be locked down. He still has to outplay a Vi and a Lissandra.
Yep. Currently, there's just they're not really finding the angles. The split is good. It's GAM sort of collapsing first. Oh, and they found DNK on a bad angle.
Yep, DNK's dead. Oh, that's a tragedy. Deal 1 knocked up, throws out the Everfrost, knocked up, has to go gold. Can they get the last bit of the damage? Of course they can. And it's Style that benefits, and GAM are running away with this one.
Yeah, that was a lot of health bar taken away right at the end there. And yeah, okay, does not have time to flash, does not have a second stopwatch. And so, GAM just gonna go take these picks, go straight to the Baron. There's not a lot of opportunity here. Enpa still has that perfect execution, but no tidal wave, no culling. This should be impossible.
It should be. There it is, secured. Enpa tried to be a hero, but honestly, without a smite, what was he ever really going to do? Hunt down Style, as he absolutely chases him to the ends of the earth. He might pay for his life with it, but a 600 gold shutdown and a kill on the Zeri, denying the Baron buff. Honestly, not a horrible situation.
Yeah, it's more than they ever should have gotten. And absolutely great stuff from Emperor. Gets killed out on the way down, and just this great ward pops out that cuts off the flank instantly and just blow up DNK. And DL1 just absolutely caught out in this back end, and perfect timing on the hook. Didn't flash, had the flash, but thought, oh no, I can just use the glacial path, which is absolute nonsense. There's no way you were getting out of there with just the path. So, small mistakes, DL1, the games are getting to him perhaps. That devastating loss of that game 3 kind of maybe affecting him. He's seeing very aggressive plays, diving into no man's land to just try and scrounge that kill. And then that time just thinking, I don't need to flash, I need to save my flash for something more important. And that ends up giving away the Baron. So he's going to have it for this fight, but they're going to be a little bit buffed up on the side of GAM. So may not
Absolutely
be the advantage he wants.
Yeah, but perhaps this is the more important fight. As around the dragon, I should say, they do go the Baron buff. With about another minute on it, will be up when the dragon spawns, which is the most critical timing. As GAM with an Infernal Soul, it's hard to imagine them not winning if they do secure it.
And SPTC are just not in position. This bot side is completely belonging to GAM. They send everybody to clear that wave. They can't step up. They can't push and pressure at all, because you can't pressure the Baron minions. Styles picked up that TMF for extra shove. And this is so hard for them to do. DNK's looking for a wraparound again, but he's on minions. They know exactly where he is.
Yeah, they're just going to zone him away. Again and again. He can't get in. He's unable to make this Vi work whatsoever.
This time he's gone for the Divine Thunder, so he has a little bit more damage, but
I mean,
he's
it's a steal.
so
It's a
squished.
steal for your series, man.
Yeah, he's can't do it. Here comes teleport from Empa.
Yeah, they're going to try
Argia.
and make the fight happen. This is a pretty big tidal wave. Actually knocks up all 5. Enper buying a lot of time, but taken down by a Q from that rise. Over the wall goes Style onto Dia 1. He's locked up. He's put down. And honestly, they were meant to go out with a last yell, but they've gone out with a last fart.
Teleport felt like Empa trying to be like, all right, we got to do something. We got to do something, but no one on his team did anything to help. So they just turn, they burn, and that's an Infernal Soul. They're gonna pick up DNK, who has just been wandering around these past few minutes, and it's, I guess,
They might actually
it's
get
an Elder
away.
Soul win condition. Possible, yeah. Vault Breaker is kind of on a low cooldown, but oh no, here comes Eri. Here comes Eri. Can they find him?
Tower?
He's gonna feel safe under tower, but he's not. That's the
He's
trick.
not.
He's gonna start a recall. Well, he's not gonna start a recall, but
Okay,
Game effect.
he's buying time. Style could die to the tower. Procs his shield, Bo.
yeah,
Okay, okay. That's probably the biggest impact he's had all game.
yeah. He's that was a lot of time bought that he really didn't need to do. GAM did not need to chase him down. They could have let him. They really could have just let him go and push down a mid lane tower or something, but they don't care. They have Infernal Soul. It's not like they're wasting any time on it. Oh my goodness, where do we go from here? I mean, Elder Soul seems like the way back in for DNK, the one you can never truly count out, but it's gonna be so difficult. The way GAM has absolutely maintained vision. They have given DNK no options to go, and he's going for this Bruiser build, so he is not going to be able to survive the upfront burst to even just get that ultimate. He needs that flank angle where he's unspotted so he can get right on top of Silent, try and delete him in one go, but that's not going to happen. There's a Titanic as well as a shield bow, so you can't even really punch through him because he's just a bit too tanky now. This isn't gonna go well.
No, I don't think it will. You can see DNK, his health bar's just so small. He gets chunked out, he gets taken down. That's another clanger from him. They try and make the engage onto the backside. They do manage to take down Style. Emperor, can he do anything? No. The Emperor has been destroyed as long as the rest of his court, as Paulette, the only man left alive, and the fish has been cooked, and that will be GAM taking the game, taking the series, and moving themselves to a semi-final berth up against the Saigon Buffalo.
Finally, we got the GAM we wanted. Really nice, clean game out of them. They made us sit through a few extra. They're gonna make us sit through. What? You know what I said in the first game about cooler than usual punishment?
I mean, I guess they did get a lesson last game about why you don't overextend to end early. So they're just going to go and do it next time.
It's true. It's true. I think this time is worse staggered enough that it would have been fun, but whatever. It's fine. After that last game, I will let it. I'll let it be. Baron's up, so we're just gonna go fight a Baron, or rather, GAM should just take it. I don't think SBTC are really gonna go fight that. But this is, yeah, it's a nice tidal wave. Celebrity's doing the best he can, but he dives so hard because all the focus is on Style that everyone puts themselves in a bad position. And then
we have a fight in the live. As SE, this is your absolute last chance saloon, and it's not really working out. You do manage to kill Style, Ember once again, but look at the backline as Cardi and Kiaya are just carving them through. It's another ace. No, not quite. DNK, the only one that lives. Bit of a change of pace as he manages to survive the first 3 seconds of a fight, and therefore will survive the entire time. And GAM, once again, will take the fight. They'll go for the win, and they will lock themselves into a semi-finals berth. They are now 1 series win away from booking a ticket to Worlds, and it's Saigon Buffalo that stand in the way this Sunday. No, Sunday's the losers. It's next week for winners. Never mind. Oh, God. Oh, gosh. That is going to be the Nexus going down, and it is a 3-1 series for GAM.
And so on Sunday, it will be SBTC playing again up against Team Secret this time. So, look, I mean, quickly on this match, we had it was a nice it's a nice showing from GAM, but it felt like SBTC, their hearts, they definitely went in it. DO1 in particular, I think, just DO1 didn't get it. That mid jungle just felt absolutely out of it, just constantly messing up with poor use of ultimates, things like that. And I'm glad we finally got the gun, got to see. It's a shame we took 4 games to get there, but I suppose you can say it's a good look for SBTC going on to take out Team Secret perhaps in the lower bracket.
Yeah, SE, they put up a much bigger fight than we expected them to. But to talk about that fight and all that it entailed, I give it back to the German desk as they have conquered us. And they'll take this one away. Go ahead, guys.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum deutschen Analyse-Desk. Hello and welcome to our German analyst desk for the last time today. It's of course the VCS 2022 Summer Playoffs, and we saw GAM Esports 3-1 against SPTC Esports. And before we talk about the series as a whole, before we talk about the bigger picture, Yue, let's start with the game itself. Was this maybe the kind of game that we expected the whole series to be like?
In terms of dominance level from GAM, yeah, I would say I would have still expected a little bit more action and a little bit more playmaking from SPTC, because they kind of just surrendered from the word go. They never went for any plays, which is weird because their composition was actually, for the first time in the series, just built around playmaking and early plays, and they just refused to do anything. So in that regard, very disappointing from SPTC's side, but yeah, they're very clean, calm and collected game from GAM, where it's just start to finish, pole position, you just run it down, 26 minutes. Pretty easy game to end the series, and very unexpected after game 2 and 3, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a very different look to GAM, much more dominant, maybe a little bit similar to that first game, and of course, 2 games that looked kind of shaky. So, Tim, in general, the series, not as dominant maybe as expected. What are some things you are surprised by, maybe?
I mean, first of all, I think we talked too much how good of an support B is. Style definitely one of the better AD carries. Top 2, I would say, with Shogun. I think the bot lane basically was absolutely useless. Actually, usually a weakness for GAM, and really cost them a lot in the series. And then on the other hand, Kati, I think, had a decent series outside of like playing Morgana, where he couldn't do much. I think Kiaya had a great series. He had a few Ornn moments, but it wasn't so impactful. And I think the other thing that I would criticize GAM for is like Levi's absence for so much of the series. He had a few good plays, a few good ganks here and there, but he was mostly just not there. And for a player of a world caliber, one of the premier players of the VCS, just being okay-ish is just not it. And I think that is a huge weakness also going into Saigon Buffalo, which they have to look out for. I think if they go with this performance versus Saigon, I expect a slaughter, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I'd also think GAM a lot less, this, I'm gonna say, king of the VCA that maybe I also expected. But let's stay with the players for a little bit longer, because at the beginning we already talked a little bit about Kati and how accomplished he is. Now, especially in those 2 Morgana games, it didn't look as great. So, Yue, what do you think about his performance especially, and will it maybe affect their series against Saigon Buffalo?
He's muted.
I'm sorry, I was muted. So Kati, to me, he has gone through so many different iterations, right? And so many different setups for GAM as well. He started out in 2020 when he came over, 2021, sorry, to just basically take the place of DR1, very supportive and a lot of roaming. Set was his number 1 champion, even on Flash still. Played a lot of mid lane Set. Then he transitioned over to being more of a mid lane carry player with Victor and Winter Split and so on. And now he just plays whatever the team wants from him. So he, in that regard, he's actually kind of similar to Froggy, but while still filling different roles. So that matchup, that coming matchup against Saigon Buffalo, well, he has won twice already, so he definitely has Froggy's number. He has always outperformed Froggy in the playoffs. But after today's series, He has to show it again because Froggy had a very good series on Wednesday, and next Wednesday is gonna be the winners bracket match. So on current form, I would favor Saigon Buffalo actually, and Kati once again has to show that he is the new king of the VCS. 4 victories already, and he needs to secure his world spots because now is his best opportunity ever. He has never made it to any international tournament, but he should have. Should have been there for 4 times already. So it would be a tragedy if the 5th time he should go. He just doesn't qualify.
Yeah, it's only one series away, but this series might just be a tough one to beat. Another tough series that is coming up for one of the teams that we saw today, of course, Team Secret against SBTC Esports. And of looking at the brackets, we do know this series, kind of very important because loser just out of playoffs. The winner has a chance to still fight for that world spot, of course, the spot that all of the teams want to get. And looking at this matchup, especially in mind how SPTC played today, Tim, what are your expectations?
I mean, going into the playoffs, I think expectations were clear. I mean, yes, SPTC is an okay team, but they have no chance really standing up to GAM. They have no chance standing up to Team Secret. They have no chance to standing up to Saigon Buffalo. But then again, Team Secret should have had at least a chance, at least a few games versus Saigon Buffalo, but they looked absolutely outmatched. And considering how good SBTC played in some of the games today, how well they executed on those late game comps in the early game, and specifically the Sivir, I'm really interested if we get to see that again in that losers bracket final, because Celebrity looked good on it for the most part. I think it's going to be a really close series, and while I wouldn't have given SPTC any chance to win it, I think it is going to be that 50-50 series we kind of expected from Saigon versus Team Secret. Now I think we have that in losers bracket between SPTC and Team Secret.
So
Yeah,
chances.
actually, those two teams met. The last series of the regular season, of course, was SPTC having to fight for their lives against Team Secret, and they won. They won 2-0. So Secret, if you look at them, they're now at a 5-game losing streak, which is kind of surprising considering they ended second place in the regular split with 10 series victories. So they are in a lot of trouble. And historically, Team Secret and most of their players haven't performed great in playoffs, so they really need to turn it around quickly. They have had 4 days now, or will have had 4 days when we play on Sunday again. And I'm really not sure what to expect. Right now, if I had to predict at this very moment, I would actually say SPTC comfortably, maybe a 3-1, because I've lost a lot of faith in Team Secret after their showing both against SPTC last week and against Saigon Buffalo on Wednesday.
Yeah. Of course, we have to remember that today also every analyst probably in the entire world predicted 3-0 comfortably for GAM Esports, which in the end, of course, didn't happen. Still, it's a GAM win, but it didn't look as dominant as we expected. And, well, that, of course, has implications about the upcoming series for GAM Esports. Saigon Buffalo, you already talked about how they were able to beat Team Secret, to obliterate Team Secret maybe even, and they're both fighting for the first world spot for the VCS. Tim, once again, expectations for these matchups?
I mean, expectations before the playoffs were clear. GAM is going to have the series. Saigon has a good shot getting 1, maybe 2 games, making the series competitive. Now I think it is an uphill battle for GAM, and I think that's something nobody really expected, because if you're bot lane as GAM, if Style and B perform the way how they did against Celebrity, Palat, Shogun, and Taki are going to rip you to pieces. And they're not going to be as nice to give you good team fights in the mid game. They're not going to make those mistakes that SBTC made to lose those games. And on the other hand, Hazmit, BJ, and Froggy, they also look great, specifically Froggy, going up against probably the season MVP and Artifact, who really was the best mid laner throughout most of the season, performed extremely well. So I think overall, it's going to be a very hard matchup for GAM. I think it is not only going to be a competitive series from the side of Saigon. I think it is really GAM who have to now show that they are that this was a one-time mistake, a one-time bad day, and that this isn't a trend.
Yulwei, do you agree?
That would be the biggest day for Saigon Buffalo so far. They've all the time they've been second place, always losing to GAM, always 1-3 in all the finals. Remember the very first final they played against GAM 2021 spring. They were 1-0 up. The second game, they had the gigantic gold lead at 17 minutes and threw that game away. And ever since, they've never been competitive, really, in the finals again. So it might be time for them to finally overcome their arch nemesis in GAM. It would be a really hype storyline because, of course, it's not the final yet. So GAM would have time to come back through the lower bracket. We might have another series of Saigon Buffalo against GAM. So for the sake of storylines or for the sake of just the most hype playoffs possible, I want Saigon Buffalo to win in a slugfest 3-2, really close series. I'm really hoping for that now after seeing GAM today. And yeah, as Tim said, the ADC difference in those two series, or bot lane in general, if you just look at the evidence from players, that's a tough nut to crack for GAM because Shogun played out of his mind and he can play all those early game champions to just dominate the laning phase. And if you die twice to Shogun, I think the game is over. You can't come back against that.
So we still have a lot of exciting matches coming up. Of course, the next one is going to be on Sunday with who we saw today, SBTC against Team Secret. And you don't really want to miss that because, of course, the winner is going to go against the loser of GAM against SGB. And that's going to be the match to watch. So next week, all exciting matches, the playoffs still, everything is there to play for all these teams. But for today, at least, we will have to send you off. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for watching. And with that, also a thank you to everybody who was on the broadcast. We'll see you again for the next game of the playoffs, then SGBT against Team Secret. See you Sunday.
Bye.